Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Guild Wars 2 ESL Pro Leagues for North America. I am Joe Storm Noah and back with me once again today is Christian Hurix Thomaser as we move forward into week number 2. What are your thoughts on today?
Yeah, man. So last week, obviously, we had all the pre-qualifying teams going up against the teams that made it through the qualifier. So, I mean, we kind of expected a little bit of some 2-0s. We had some great matches nonetheless, but this week is when things start to shuffle up and we start seeing some good teams, some undefeated teams actually at the moment at least coming out of week 1 going up against each other. And we're going to start seeing where teams kind of like are going to start settling for the rest of the season. And it all starts here, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go ahead and take a look at the season schedule that we have coming up over the next couple of months here. We do have today, November 30th, those matches for you, of course, the next 2 weeks in December, followed by a short break in December and finishing up the season in January with the studio finals on February 20th. Now, of course, we have the format for today. What do we got going on with that?
Yeah, so of course, everybody's going to be vying for that $200,000 total prize pool over the course of these next 7 weeks, or rather, these next 6 weeks, as we already did have the last week already done under wraps there. This is going to be round robin for the entire league here. All these matches are going to be best of 3 throughout. We have 16 total teams, of course, 8 teams for North America and 8 teams for Europe. And the final 2 teams, the best 2 teams from each region, will go ahead and enter those season finals. So we'll have the top 4 teams there competing in that season final. This is going to be Conquest, of course, which is going to be 5-on-5. And we had 4 maps in the rotation. Of course, we're only going to be seeing 3 of them today. The rotation today is going to involve Temple of the Silent Storm, Forest of Niflhel, and Legacy of the Foefire. Kylo is out today, but of course, that's not the end of that map.
Yeah, of course. All of these teams going to be battling it out or continue to battle it out for that total prize pool of $200,000. Of course, first place for North America will be getting $10,000. Second place for North America, $9,000, all the way down to 8th place at $2,500. And of course, the top 2 from NA and EU moving on to the season finals. First place claiming $50,000 all the way down to 12.5K for 3rd and 4th place there. So if you guys are interested in tuning in over on social media, you guys should check out ESL's Facebook and Twitter over at ESL GW2 for both of those. Of course, we do have a bit of gold betting once again going on today.
Yeah, man, pretty exciting stuff. So if you guys want to go ahead and type in !gold, you'll find out right now that I think you guys all start out with 50. And then, over the course of the day, you'll be able to predict how the matches will turn out. If you get it right, you'll gain gold. If you get it wrong, you'll lose some. And the person, or the people rather, with the most gold at the end of the day will win gym giveaways.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at our current standings for North America, as we already have 1 week down. What do we got going on with these, Christian?
Yeah, so of course we do have obviously 4 teams in first place, 4 teams in 5th place, as we only have 1 week under our belts right now. But of course, in first place we do have Final Form, the Absurd, Spooky, and Apex Prime, as those guys won their matches last week. And in 5th place we have Zero Counterplay, who we have yet to see play actually. And then Never Lucky, Peasy, and Easy Peasy. So
yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the match schedule and see where things may shuffle around today. First up, Zero Counterplay up against Apex Prime. That is our match of the week. Following that will be Team Peasy up against the Absurd.
Yeah, and going into match 3, we will have Final Form versus Spooky. Honestly, in my opinion, probably the most important match in terms of implications for the rest of the season. And then match 4 will be Never Lucky versus Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy.
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our first matchup, Zero Counterplay up against Apex. I mean, we have not seen Zero Counterplay perform yet. And Apex Prime coming off of a massive victory over Team PZ last week. A very exciting 2-1 victory nonetheless. What are your thoughts on that match as we move into today?
Yeah, so obviously, like Zero Counterplay, we haven't seen them yet. We've only seen them in the qualifier. We haven't seen them how they kind of match up versus these really top teams. I mean, Apex Prime looking like a top team right now as of last week, really kind of taking it to PZ. I think a lot of people kind of expected PZ to do very well in that matchup, but nonetheless, Apex took it in a really thrilling series there. And so, yeah, they're looking really solid right now. Zero Counterplay hasn't had, enough play time, really, in my opinion. I think Apex is going to take it.
We'll have to see, as we do have both teams joining up on our first map, Temple of the Silent Storm. Let's give you an intro for that.
Victory is never assured in the Temple of the Silent Storm. In this conquest map, players will fight for control of 3 score-generating capture points. Awareness is key, as powerful meditation points will spawn around the map at various intervals and grant powerful bonuses to the team that claims them. Stillness will grant your team double points for each capture point owned. Tranquility will grant your team control of all 3 capture points. The first team to 500 points wins.
All right, well, we do have both teams fully joined up here over on the red. That would be Apex Prime Over on the blue, zero counterplay. What are your expectations with what we see right from the get-go?
You know, looking at it right here, we already see a double rev coming out from Apex Prime. This is something that we kind of expected. Ostrog's picking up that Necromancer once again. Of course, we are used to seeing him play NG, in terms of overall history, but of course in recent history he has been known to pick up that Necromancer a lot, playing that condition build. He's always played condition, so he feels really comfortable on that. And on the other side of things, I mean, you see that double Mesmer coming out. I feel like this is something that we're going to be seeing a lot of. Of course, Ipno is a very, very good Mesmer, and Q has a lot of experience as well, especially playing with this team as the Mesmer. So this will be very interesting to see how the double Rev versus double Mesmer plays out. But one thing to notice, take note of rather, is how the double Mesmer is going to operate on this map, especially because of those evade wells.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't you go ahead and take us through Apex Prime over on the red.
All right, starting off here first with Quilja. He's going to be on the Elementalist here, of course, taking up that Tempest role. He's going to be playing with Staff, with Celestial Amulet and Runa Soldier. He's going to be taking Water, Earth, and Tempest. Next up, we do have Trackful. He's going to be on Trackstar Prime right now. He's going to be playing Sword, Shield, and Staff. Rune of Vampirism and the Celestial Amulet. He's going to be taking Corruption, Devastation, and Herald. And this ability we saw a little bit last week, and we're going to be seeing a lot of it this week, as it has just absolute so much condition pressure, and I mean just so much damage coming out of this, so much pressure. And looking now at Morph, we are going to be seeing him on the Dragon Hunter actually, and he's going to be playing Longbow, Sword Focus with Rune of the Trapper and Marauder Amulet. Actually, Valor, Virtues, and Dragon Hunter are the specs that he's going to be taking up. And next we have Ostrog's on the Necromancer. He's going to be playing that condition build that I talked about a little bit beforehand. Scepter, Warhorn with the Staff, Rune of the Berserker, and Celestial Amulet here with Spite, Soul Reaping, and Reaper there. And next up we do have Tarsus going to be playing that same build that we saw earlier on Trackful with Sword, Shield, and Staff, picking up Rune of Vampirism, and Celestial Amulet taking up Devastation, Corruption, and Herald.
Yeah, interesting to see both these Revenants actually going to be taking Glint over the Demon Stance for that matter. So, you know, a little bit more condition pressure, also having more resistance for that matter as well against incoming conditions. But taking a look over at Zero Counterplay, first up we have Moob's going to be playing Revenant for himself, running the Sword Shield with that Staff, running Rune of Durability and Marauder Amulet. He is going to be taking up Devastation, Retribution, and Herald. So going to be sticking with that Power Revenant. Next up, Aerox going to be on the Elementalist for this team with the Dagger Focus, Rune of the Soldier, Celestial Amulet. He'll be taking Earth, Water, and Tempest for himself. Gyuhu, one of two of these Mesmers on this team, running Sword, Shield. He is also going to be running with the Staff, Rune of Durability, and Viper's Amulet. He'll be taking Inspiration, Illusions, and Chronomancer. On that note, he is also taking Time Warp. We did not see Time Warp once last week, so interesting to see this coming out from him. Aerodynamic, the second Ellie for this team, he's going to be running Dagger Focus as well. With that Rune of the Soldier, Celestial Amulet, he'll be taking Earth, Water, and Tempest. And finally, Ipno, going to be that second Mesmer for this team with the Great Sword, Shield, Rune of Strength, Berserker Amulet, oddly enough. He will be taking Inspiration, Illusions, and Chronomancer with that Gravity Well over the Time Warp.
Yeah, definitely interesting. This is certainly not the Mesmer build that I think we're going to be expecting to see throughout the rest of the day. I think we're going to be seeing something a little bit more defensive and definitely a little bit more team supportive, but this is definitely an interesting take on how they want to play this double Mesmer setup.
What are your thoughts on this? I mean, double Mesmer, it's going to be very difficult, especially, of course, double Portal coming out from Kyuhu and Ipno. How do you think that they're going to be able, Apex Prime is going to match up with their mobility? Of course, the Revenants have high mobility along with the Elementalists, but it's not quite like a Portal for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're not going to be able to outdo the rotations that, I mean, Blue Team could do, but it's really going to come down to these Revenants, Tarsus and Trackful, and these guys play very, very well together, and Apex has actually been known to have really strong duo play. It's basically up to them to make sure that they play off of those rotations and just absolutely just dominate them off the rotation, and it's, I mean, honestly, I can't say enough. It's completely down to these Revenants, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really is. We'll have to see if they're able to coordinate with each other, put out that massive damage we see, along with Morpheus on top of that, and Oeg's keeping up. You know, he did a good job last week. We'll see how much he has improved over the past 7 days here. But we do have game number 1 on Temple of the Silent Storm about to begin. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map as we look at the opening splits for our first match of the day between Zero Counterplay and Apex Prime. Looks like Morph heading to that Temple node, and Kyuhu, of course, going to the altar. Aerodynamic, though, looking to cross along with Tarsus. So we're going to see 3-point play right from the get-go from both of these teams.
Yeah, and this is definitely something I expected from Blue, but I'm not sure how basically Apex is going to be settling with this 5-point play that's going to eventually come out from zero counterplay. I mean, they have the Mesmers. They're going to play all of those points, especially on the 530 buff. So it's going to come down to Apex playing off of that. Do they even want to engage those? Do they want to hold those? Because I'm not sure with the portals if that's completely the greatest idea unless they have good map control.
Definitely so. And we are going to see Morph and Aerodynamic in a 1v1, but incoming from Hypno, moves actually down over here. Trackful going in for the stop, not going to pick it up as Hypno is in the area, going in for the res now. She'll be able to pick it up, nonetheless, gets him back into the fight and almost picked up the kill for himself, but regardless, that mid node is going to be in favor of Apex Prime as they can start to build a lead at the beginning of this game, but Trackful under a lot of pressure. These guys need to be very careful about getting caught out with these Mesmers.
Yeah, absolutely. Trackful definitely in a position to be taken out, but it looks like he's doing pretty good at eluding a lot of this, or sorry, evading a lot of this damage. And, you know, right now he's actually putting down some good counter pressure here against Moobs, kind of holding him off, keeping this skirmish exactly where he wants it, because as long as Moobs is sitting here in a 1v1 that's basically going to be stalemated, Apex is still continuing to get these capture points from the altar that they already have capped out. He's actually winning this 1v1 still, so this is a great play from Track, and honestly a huge mistake by Moobs and not getting over to helping out this fight and maybe even taking out Morph, which would be a much easier target for him.
Yeah, and that altar node is actually in favor of Apex. They did lose the gate as Cooljo was in a 1v2. Morpheus actually at the temple, very low. It's about to go in favor of the blue team, but nonetheless, Apex Prime holding on. Taking a look at Quilge at the midpoint, he is under a lot of pressure, doing a very good job staying alive here. It is imperative that he gets help eventually, because I don't feel he's going to be able to out-sustain these guys forever, especially when they do pick up that cap there. They get the 2-cap and zero counterplay, picking up the first 2-cap of this game.
It's really going to, it was going to come down to if Hypno was going to be able to get that burst play off there and maybe take out Quiljo, but he's going to be able to slide over, and he's going to have water overload soon as well, so he could potentially get back up to that full health. But he's going to pull over because now they really need to make sure that they win that altar and start pushing the momentum, because pretty soon it's going to be getting to that 11:30 time, and you know you have to start wondering what they're going to be doing.
There's the portal back though. Nice portal play from Hypno, getting Aerodynamic out of the downstate. They're going to go right back through, not allow Apex to get that. Very good play coming out from those guys on top of it. Morph now under a little bit of pressure. Quilja coming back to help him. So is OX making his way over here as well, along with Trackstar Prime actually making his way to midpoint in a 1v2. Meanwhile, Apex Prime is without a cap. Gate in favor of zero counterplay, who are getting back into this one. We have our first buff up in about 40 seconds here.
Yeah, it looks like Hypno taking a lot of pressure there, forced off the point. Looks like Apex has really good node control here. Tarsus, though, getting taken down fairly low right now, and Yu is in a position right now actually to probably get that full cap on altar, perhaps, if he's able to keep controlling like this.
Yeah, we'll have to see as things progress. 20 seconds until our first buff of the game. That will be the top buff in Tranquil, or our first top buff, of course, going to be going. It's really going to help out this blue team if they want to start to build a lead with that gate cap. And of course, they have those portals, so they could really make use of them if they have one sitting there at the time. But I don't think that's going to be happening. It's up in a couple seconds. No one's even close. These fights on the side nodes are a little bit more important for both of these teams. The stillness is up for the first time this game. We do see one member of this blue team going towards the Hypno, and is going to be pursued by a couple members of Apex, but I don't think they're going to make it there in time, and I think Hypno's got this one.
Honestly, in this situation, I think that Ostrich should have stayed in that fight. I mean, he pulled all the way out. Now the portal's going to come back, and they really didn't take advantage of an easy opportunity to take out one member of zero counterplay and push this fight. I mean, there was no points that Blue actually had in possession for them to actually get anything off of that stillness buff, so they should have Apex should have just left it completely and tried to win that fight very quickly on the temple, and they would have been able to now have points capturing all this time. And
yeah, and we actually see Trackstar win the 1v1 at the midpoint against Aerox, going to get that cap for themselves. And like you said, Stillness virtually did nothing there for zero counterplay. So that was pretty good move on Apex not to fully commit, but they still went after it and they didn't really accomplish anything from it, of course. Now Morph under a lot of pressure. RF saves him for the time being, but isn't enough for himself to stay alive. Got a little bit of support from the rest of his team, but a lot of damage nonetheless coming out from zero counterplay. OX starting to move over towards this node as Morph able to heal himself back up, and looks like a bit of a skirmish still going on at these side nodes. Nobody clearly having the advantage early on in this game.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to put the pressure down on Kyuhu, who's going to be able to stay alive fairly easy here. Oh, dodges the true shot there with the sword too. Blurred Frenzy there, keeping alive for the meantime. He's staying up now, but it's getting pretty close over here, and I think this altar fight is getting really volatile here as Dr. Q is getting extremely low right now. Doesn't have too many cooldowns left here, getting down now to about 10% HP, throws down the Time Warp just even to get the slow off perhaps, but does indeed go down, and it looks like the knockback might secure this kill here.
That was a really good knockback there from Tarsus. Nonetheless, Moobs going in for the res along with Aerox. Are they able to get it up? It looks like they're so close, but the trap's coming down there from north.
The trap does it.
They do not get him back up. I think this is a very poor move on the side of this blue team to let mid go for so long. They should have sent Hypno, for that matter, to that midpoint, throw down the portal, and then come back to this temple node. I'm very surprised they didn't make use of the portals, and because of that, we're going to see this 2-cap maybe come out here from Apex. Actually, no, it doesn't look like they're able to clean up fight up over at the altars. So regardless, that gate's still ticking in favor of Apex. Some really good rotation from Morph. Knows Q who's coming out for respawn, going to be able to secure that node still.
Yeah, and now Q-Hugh's going to come over and try to take down Ostrich Eggs, who's getting extremely low here. Does have the Plague Signet. He does get the transfer off right before going down, but Eric's going to go ahead and cleanse pretty much all that almost instantly. Get the invuln there as well, so he's going to prevent pretty much all that damage from happening. They're going to take out Ostrich.
We do have both buffs up in about 15 seconds. We see Tarsus moving towards that Trank buff along. Looks like nobody from the blue team actually pursuing him there. We do see Hypno fall down here, so we got a bit of a 1v1 going on at both of these buffs that are up in about 5 seconds. Meanwhile, the 1v1 still going on over here at the temple between Trackstar and Aerodynamic, and it looks like no one really going, you know, having the clear upper hand in this fight. It looks like both teams are trying to fully commit to both of these buffs.
I actually kind of expected blue team to commit a little bit more to that Trank buff. I feel like, I mean, they have the precogs. I feel like they should really commit to that if they actually want to go that route. But it looks like right now all they've really committed is Hypno, and it's versus Tarsus here, the Revenant, who has conditions here as well. So I think Tarsus honestly has the upper hand in this particular 1v1, and I don't really agree with the blue team's rotations off of this so far.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that progresses. We did see Quilja head out of this top buff because he knew he had help. There was only one guy at the stillness buff. He went to get the altar, but a portal came back for the side of Zero Counterplay. Now this, you know, this 1v1 that's never going to end up top. Quilja's just going to sustain for the time being. Meanwhile, the midpoint was decapped there, as we did see Moobs get more off the point for the most part. Now Moobs trying to get the full cap. OX coming into this one. Meanwhile, we do see Aerodynamic actually taken down over here at the temple. Is the stomp going to come out there from Trackful? It doesn't look like so. He's going to be taken down in the process as the plus came out there from Aerodynamic, or excuse me, went out there from Q-Hoo, and we'll see that fight going in favor of this blue team here.
Yeah, now they're going to actually be able to get this 2-cap going here, and with 7:15 left on the clock, I mean, they haven't even seen 200 points on the board yet. This is back and forth all day here, and we're going to be seeing blue team start coming back a little bit here, and it's up to Apex to make sure that they control that bottom capture point right now, which is basically all Tarsus at the moment. It's literally all Tarsus at this point, just keeping the dream alive for Apex, and it looks like they were able to get that decap there onto Altar, which is a huge pickup there by Morph, and actually doing a good job in this 1v1 versus moves.
Yeah, but it looks like it's going to come to a 2v2 as Hypno's coming in, so is Trackful. They're trying to take down Moobs really quick before Hypno gets here. Hypno's at 100% HP. Moobs forced off the node. Hypno should be able to sustain on that one for the time being, as Aerox was taken down at the Trank buff. We're going to see Tarsus going for the quickness stomp here. Nobody's close here. Actually, Q-Hook now coming down. OX trying to hold him off, but I don't think he's going to be able to get that cap in time as Q is in the area. And OX going to make this a 2v1. And Apex Prime slowly losing their lead, able to get the cap over there at the temple, but lost mid in the process.
Yeah, I mean, they're slowly losing their lead, but I still think they have control over this map, which is something that I didn't expect, looking at the composition. It's really coming down to Tarsus, honestly, doing such a good job maintaining this bottom buff control. And look at the damage onto Q-Hugh, already getting so low.
Quilja knocking down Aerodynamic, almost, gets the stillness buff just before Hypno gets the auto attack onto him. Really good play from Quilja, because now both teams have the 2-cap. There's the decap, though, coming out there from Trackstar, just as I say it. What a crazy play coming out there from Quilja. Really good job, able to pick up that cap for themselves and, start to regain their lead.
Yeah, and they're going to have a 4-cap here just to tick away, and now they have it there. So they have a little bit of time here with a 4-cap ticking away, and they still have decent control on the bottom here. Tarsus and Ostrich Eggs doing so much work right now, keeping these guys at bay. And the longer they keep them down here, the better. And there's 3 guys down here. This is a huge misplay from blue team here, putting 3 guys down here when there's no way they're going to be capping this out at all.
It's like a last resort already. 5 minutes left in the game, and now we're going to see a 100-point lead probably come out here from Apex. The second stillness buff came up there at the 5:30 mark. Trackstar Hypno's trying to get on top of him, does do a nice job of getting up to him, but probably not going to be able to get that cap anytime soon. We see Move starting to move towards the temple. He knows his team needs to get a decap here, otherwise it's going to be too late because, like you said, it feels like this bottom buff is never going to be capped here. And Quilja doing a great job, good rotation, getting out of that one, going to get the free decap at the gate.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's such a bad play from them, at least in my opinion, to be committing so many people to try to win that fight and overwhelm them on that bottom buff when they have a 2-cap going against them. They're not going to win that anytime soon, and they're just wasting their time, and they're still doing it. They're still committing people to that. We did see actually Moobs get that that temple point, which is a great pickup, and now he needs to slide over, honestly, in my opinion, probably to that midpoint or even to that altar point and try to take on the 1v1 or even, you know, kind of swing that other fight on mid and try to win that one because they are losing bottom.
They're getting top buff though. They were able to kill Trackstar there. We see Kyuhu getting that stillness cap for the most part. We did see Aerodynamic get taken out down at the bottom. Now Aerox under a lot of pressure. Look at the Conti sticking on. He's going to be taken in downstate. It's 2 as we see Kyuhu starting to move down here. Should be able to get there in time, but will he be able to sustain? I doubt it, though they are getting this 2-cap. Take 4 minutes left in this game. What do you think this blue team needs to do to get back into this one?
I mean, they definitely need to make sure that they start getting no control pretty much across the board here because they've given it up all game long. At this point, I mean, they've committed so much to just running down to that bottom buff and just dying one by one by one that they've been losing points and just bleeding out, just hemorrhaging score throughout this entire match just from that and that alone.
Yeah, definitely. So Q, oh, whoa, almost died there, able to get through the port just in time to stop Tarsus's channel, but really good play there from Morph, and Tarsus is going to finish him off. Meanwhile, Apex Prime still securing that gate node over here at the temple. We see the cap in Apex favor, and it looks like they should be able to hold on 100 points away or 3 minutes away from victory as Apex Prime starting to take this game away.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they're still committing to the same idea over and over and over again. Arrow right now sitting into a 1v1 here. Was a 1v2 for a second there, but Tarsus felt like he could take that 1v1 and just send Ostrich back up to the midpoint where he can now help out his teammate Morph here, who is under a lot of duress here, is about to go into downstate, does drop here. Blue team finally picking him up there and moves right now at about 50% HP as well, but they do get the stomp off, and Ostrich Egg is the only one left to guard this node here, but they still have control of it because now Quilja is there as well, so he's going to be able to put some heals down. They're going to still be able to tank this one out. I do not see them taking this one.
Yeah, with Trackstar getting the decap over there at the altar as well, even in spite, of Hypno getting the decap at the temple, it feels like this game might be over indeed. Stillness is up if anyone wants to get it. We see Morph actually moving towards it, should be able to get the free cap. Dr. Q moving towards the altar to contest it, but they get the cap regardless, and we're just over 40 points away from victory for Apex Prime. It looks like they should have this one in the bag.
Yeah, right now we're seeing moves actually get pretty low once again here, but able to get a huge heal there from both himself and his teammate there, Aerox, and he's going to be able to get back up. But still, the pressure, the onslaught coming out of Ostrich Egg's Reaper Shroud right here is going to drop moves back down to about 10%. Dr. Q taking some pressure over on the altar, but that will be game 502 to 287. Apex just handling them, just manhandling them there that whole game.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like Apex Prime. At the start of that one, it was a little shaky, but it looked like they found themselves on the Temple of the Silent Storm and proved that maybe they had some practice on that map, because that going into today, a lot of teams, definitely of the 3 maps between Legacy, Temple of the Silent Storm, and Forest of Niflheim, that was definitely the one that had the least amount of practice.
We have to remember, going back to Apex's history, most of their success has been through the Tournament of Legends. They really weren't that active throughout most of the ESLs, so Tournament of Legends was a big, proponent, I guess, of the Temple of the Silent Storm map. So they have some practice in a tournament setting on that map. They've played some of these guys on that map. They feel, honestly, I feel like these guys feel really comfortable on that map. Especially Tarsus. Of course, we can look back at TL1, H-Man getting those really clutch 6 caps and stuff like that. So I think Apex, honestly, is one of the teams that actually does feel comfortable in Temple of the Silent Storm. I'm sure others do as well, but it's kind of one of those maps that it's either you feel it or you don't, and Zero Counterplay was just not feeling it.
Yeah, they didn't really make as good of a use of the portals as I really felt they did. And like you said, they had no control for most of that game. And I feel like if they would have made better use of the portals, like, hope that your team can out-sustain another team, maybe even outnumbered for just 15 seconds to go to that midpoint, drop the portal at that point that you're currently at, go to the midpoint, get the decap, get the full cap if your team can sustain that long, then drop the portal and get right back through and bring through somebody else that might be under a lot of pressure. It's
Yep.
plays like that we see from teams like Final Form that are really succeeding with the portal plays, and Zero Counterplay is yet to prove that with it.
Yeah, honestly, I have to completely agree with that because, that it felt like that game, they weren't really playing off of the Mesmers in terms of rotation. They weren't playing it to out-rotate them on a map like Temple of Silent Storm, where you have 5 points of interest where you really want to have control over. They weren't playing off the rotations where I think they would have won. They were instead trying to out-team fight them, which is never really a good idea in that composition, especially when you're getting outplayed pretty much every single team fight.
Yeah, definitely so. And I don't feel there was an immense amount of pressure from Kyuhu and Hypno. And I know these two are actually really good Mesmers. Hypno has been playing in competitively for quite some time now, and even of recency on some decent teams, but really didn't show a whole lot. It felt like moves was most of their pressure this game, and it looks like we do have a little bit of a comp swap coming out for Team Zero Counterplay as we move on to the Forest of Niflhel for a second map. How do you think they're going to be able to fare on this one?
Honestly, I think this is going to go much the same way, but I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more points on the scoreboard from Blue Team. I think they feel a lot more comfortable on this map. They're not going to make the same kind of rotational errors that they did on Temple of the Silent Storm. I think, honestly, a lot of that is just kind of up to the fact that, I don't think they have anyone on their team really that is, like, really good at kind of recognizing those trends and saying, hey, we should stop doing this thing that we're doing because it's clearly not working. So I think that if Apex can make sure that they get in that same rut there, that they're going to take this one for sure again here and take it 2-0.
All right, let's go ahead and hop on to our second map, Forest of Niflhel. We have both teams joining. As I said, a comp swap. It looks like Hypno opting to go off of that Mesmer, going to be heading onto the Revenant to make it double Revenant for both of these teams. He'll be running with that staff, sword, shield, rune of durability, Marauder amulet, taking a second power Revenant rather than the Condi variant kind of we're seeing from Apex Prime with Tarsus and Trackful. He's going to be running Retribution, Devastation, and Herald for himself. So both have double Revenants. Both are kind of doing their own thing on the Revenant rather than, immense amount of power pressure coming out from these guys. Trackful actually swapping to the Rune of Lissa for himself. We'll have to see if Tarsus opts to do the same. Looks like both of them going for the Rune of Lissa here, as they were not running that in the previous match. Now, with these changes, with Hypno especially moving over to the Revenant, how do you think he's going to be able to fare against the immense amount of pressure we see from Tarsus and Trackful all game long?
Honestly, I think that Tarsus and Trackful are actually going to be at an advantage in this fight here with him. I mean, I know that the Marauder's Revenant is very, very strong. I think that it's it's definitely really strong. It's very good, especially synergizing with that Marauder, that Retribution tree, of course, getting some DR. But honestly, the pressure that's coming out from Trackful, the pressure that's coming out from Tarsus, the Condi pressure that's going to add to that as well every time they attack. I mean, I just think it's going to be a little bit too much for him. I'm not so sure about that. I think it's going to be better for them because I don't think they play off of the Mesmer as well. So I think the Revenant is still a good pickup for them. But I still think that if he gets into a 1v1 with Tarsus, he's going to lose that one.
Yeah, definitely so. And this match is very imperative for Apex Prime. They want to start out 2-0 in their sets here. And, as these matches start to form out today, of course, the picture, the standings will really start to shift after the second week here, and we'll really start to see where teams might fall in the upper half or the bottom half of most of these teams. And if Apex is able to pull out the victory here on the second map, or even the third map if it happens to come to it, they will definitely be in the upper half. And Zero Counterplay, if they do lose this falling 0-2, not going to be a great start to the season for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely not a great start. But you have to take into account that their start of the season is going up against 2 teams that could arguably be in the top 2 at the end of the season. I mean, of course, the Absurd is one of those teams that is going to probably wind up being in the top 2 at this current state. However, Apex Prime is right now looking like a team that could contend for that second spot.
Definitely so. As we do have game number 2 underway, let's go ahead and take a look at the map as we do get ready for the opening splits of our game number 2 between Apex Prime and Zero Counterplay. It looks like some crossers, 4-man cross coming out here for Apex Prime, moving back onto the map here. It looks like only Tarsus will be moving towards that hinge point as he is waiting. Oh, no. Oh, Hypno getting right on top of Tarsus. Tarsus probably didn't expect that right away. We probably will see this full cap from Kyuhu, unless Tarsus is able to get to him in time. It looks like Blue Team gets the cap there, so nice pickup coming out. Now Tarsus is going to be under a little bit of pressure until Morph gets over here.
We're going to be seeing Ostrich get that cap and move over towards that midpoint. No one's going to contest that mine, so now we're going to have 2 points under contention here. We are going to be seeing the midpoint neutralized. Obviously, no one's been able to cap that one out, but on Hinge, we're also going to be seeing that under contention here. Tarsus now getting down to about 6%, but looking at the mid-fight, actually,
out there.
looking at the mid fight here, we are actually seeing a little bit bigger of a brawl. We're kind of seeing a little bit of a skirmish off point as well, with Ostrich here getting kind of taken down a little bit here. Moves trying to put on the pressure, or Ostrich actually taking a lot of it so far, getting down to about 50% HP, but he does have the ability to go into that Reaper shot at any point, even send some condies back there. But so far, it's just kind of all off point. No one really getting full control of that keep node.
Q-Hu coming back into this fight at the mid, because we did see Morph start to move over here as well, and because of that, we're going to see a big 4v4 going on. But like you said, a lot of this play seems to be off point. Morph is off the point right now. I feel like he has an immense amount of team pressure, and he's going to be forced to 1v1 Moobs, actually. As Moobs making a run for the mine point, and due to that mobility coming out from Morph's sword, he should be able to keep up with him for the time being. But back at the midpoint, still that fight going on doesn't look to be going on in anyone's favor. There's so much healing coming out there from Quilja and Aerodynamic, for that matter, and self-sustained from these teams. Nothing probably going to be happening within the first couple of minutes here.
Yeah, we talked about that 1v1 between Kill 'Em with Pizza there, Hypno, versus Tarsus, and Tarsus actually just took that 1v1 over on Henge. They were able to get that decap there. So decaps across the board, no one with any points here. Q-Hu going to slide over and try to take the 1v1 versus Tarsus right now, who's actually, if I'm not mistaken, undefeated in 1v1s all day today.
We'll have to see if that stays true, as we see Ostrich Eggs moving over to that mine, as the decap actually came out there from Moobs, probably from that Surge of the Mist with his staff, as more than likely Morph wasn't able to keep himself on that point. Still the 1v1 going out at the midpoint. Very uneventful here, as there's so much sustain from these guys. Nothing probably going to be happening anytime soon. Tarsus still in that 1v1. We will be seeing Aerox move towards this node. Quilja going to come support Tarsus. Knows he might need help, but all nodes decapped right now. 2.5 minutes in, a 3-point lead to Apex. This is still anyone's game to take.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Q-Hu trying to take this 1v1 right now with Tarsus. They're both getting kind of pressured a little bit, but it's never really enough to actually take a kill, actually. We're seeing Tarsus get kind of low. Q-Hu actually doing a good job here. Aerox trying to get some support to him as well. And they're going to maybe take down Tarsus here. In the meantime, though, we have seen Mine get full capped, as already stated there. But, I mean, if blue team doesn't do anything on this midpoint, I mean, look at them right now. They're all scattered everywhere. They did just finally get that Henge cap there from Tarsus, as he was forced off.
Morph is actually going for Spawner. They were in the area. They did get the member of this blue team off of the mine because they plussed it, because Morph came over there. Or excuse me, I believe that was Ostrich Eggs that came over there. Morph just going to finish off the kill onto Spawner. Aerox probably not going to be able to get there in time. It looks like he's making a move for it, but he won't get there in time. Maybe he's actually going for the mine point, but Morph is in the area. That's not going to happen. Nice 25-point boost coming out there from Apex. Pretty good move on their end. Meanwhile, at the midpoint, Moob's under a lot of pressure. Doesn't have a whole lot left. He gave himself up. His team sustained will keep him alive for the time being, but we haven't seen a team fight really go in anyone's favor. Even in the last game, we didn't see a massive team fight happen, for that matter.
Yeah, and right now over on the Henge, we are seeing Tarsus get extremely low here. Is he going to be able to sustain through these conditions here? He's getting so low. Does actually get eliminated there. Q-Hu finally able to finish that one off after getting some assistance there from his team, or his teammate. But Morph is going to slide over and start getting the res going here and try to.
This is my question. Why is a portal down right now for Q-Hu? This is the thing I was talking about. Why? He's still at the node. He's not making good use of the portal. He did this earlier. Little did he know that Morph was coming on to this point earlier on in the game. So he threw down the portal, thought he was leaving. But even so, he doesn't. I mean, he has portal back up for himself, but we haven't yet to see a really good portal play. Not that there has been a whole lot of opportunities for it, but he needs to start making his plays here if these guys want to take a big lead.
Yeah, and he goes down. The idea there was he wanted to get that continuum split off and try to go for the portal stump so he doesn't get dazed by the trap that comes out from Moobs. But the thing is that honestly, that was so poorly timed that it would never have worked.
Yeah, exactly. And we do see the stomp on Q-Hu here as the rest of his team files in. Had a brief 2-cap come out there, 4-0 counterplay, but nonetheless, it's still a decent lead here for Apex Prime. Almost 5 minutes into the game, it really feels like the beginning of both of these games that we've had thus far have been really slow, and then started to pick up the pace as people began to make mistakes, better rotations as a whole, and further on in the game. And we do see actually a couple of members of Apex forced back to the mine point, but still this Henge fight really going strong for both of these teams.
Yeah, right now we are seeing pretty much just Moobs taking a lot of damage actually over on the crossroads as Trackful's trying to take him down with Ostrich Eggs. They do take up the kill right there, so they're going to be able to actually slide over perhaps to that mid node if they can keep up the pressure on this and take down Moobs. But he gets right back up. Arrow able to get him back up, and I don't even know how that even happened. I mean, they should have had the pressure to do that.
They should have. I mean, OX easily could have went for that stomp there. And the pressure from Trackful should have been enough. Regardless, they got him back up. Really good play coming out there for this blue team and managing to hold on to this mid node. We do see Morpheus actually coming in the midpoint, and he's going to try and put out some pressure onto, it looks like that is Moobs here. And Quilja, though, over at the Henge, now he's under a whole lot of pressure, able to keep himself alive. And we do see Aerodynamic actually stomp there at the mid node. A lot of damage coming out there from this red team, who seem to, coordinate with each other, unlike this blue team, who really need to get something going here before Apex Prime is able to take a 2-cap that could inevitably give them a pretty big lead early on.
Yeah, and if Moobs goes down here, it's all over for them. They need to get some unblockables into Moobs right now, who is trying to get that shield heal. They do manage to take him down there, and now we are going to be seeing Hypno get that heal off with the infused light, and Moobs is going to stay alive for just a little bit longer here. He's going to try to run out and see if he can get out alive here. Going to go for some evades as well, but now he's going to be in a position where he could be eliminated there by Morph's true shot. Doesn't look like that actually is going to be the case as he comes back into the fight, and now Hypno is the one that's in trouble here as he's now at about 20% HP. Looks like they're forcing the pressure onto Hypno here as he's getting even lower. Does have the rebound on top of him there, so he's going to be able to get that aura. Not going to get the heal as he was not taken down, but Moobs still under a lot of pressure. Ostrich Eggs, though, about to go downstate here.
That was really good play coming out there from Moobs and Hypno. Really good job keeping themselves alive, using their cooldowns, but like you said, OX taking in downstate. We see Aerox going in for the stomp. Only Quilja there to res. The stomp comes out there from Aerox. Really good pickup. Despite that, blue team is without a cap now. 8 minutes left in this game, and neither team hitting 250 yet.
Yeah, that was a huge mechanical error there from Ostrich Eggs. He had his Reaper Shroud available for, several moments before he actually went down. It was at full Reaper Shroud. He could have been able to stay alive just a little bit longer perhaps, and would have been able to come out with a little bit more health perhaps, and even gotten some heals from his teammates, but didn't go into the Reaper Shroud, and that took him down. He got instant stomped, and he's going to lose that fight for his team.
Now Q, who under a lot of pressure, he went for the ring, the trap of Morpheus is twice there and took a massive amount of damage. Looked healthy just before. Ooh, big burst coming out there from Morph, trying to take him down. Still, look at the Condi's taking on him. He is going to get some help from Hypno. Will it be enough? It looks like possibly, as OX is now in the area trying to put out a lot of damage. Look at the Condi's coming out into Q, who able to keep himself alive just barely. Really good job on his end. He does go into the downstate. Now we see a lot of damage. Nice knockback coming out there from Tarsus as these guys still going for the res. There's too much downstate pressure, I think, from this Apex Prime roster, and they now have a 100-point lead. 7 minutes left in this game, starting to move forward and start to build a lead here.
Yeah, any point you have a Revenant with quickness availability, that is already too much downstate pressure. Add in the pressure from everybody else, and of course, that's just going to be so much AoE pressure to put down Cleave style right there, and basically just eliminate anyone who tries to get their teammate back up. And now we are seeing actually another kill there onto Aerox, taking out Hypno as well, so they're going to be gaining control of that Hinge node. We actually do see QQ pulling off of this one, coming off a respawn there, and we are going to be seeing a fight actually kind of pushed back over towards the mine. Another one still happening over on the keep node right here as Trackful is getting down to about 50% versus Arrow, but just a matter of time before he gets some heals back up for himself, and we're going to be seeing a huge team fight here on the keep.
Yeah, there we go. QQ dropping his portal over at the home node. That's what I'm talking about. Needs to make use of that in just a little bit once we see Tarsus move away from the Henge. If he happens to, knows his respawns won't be moving away anytime soon, though, as they do pick up this 2-cap and starting to build their lead once again. And we're seeing this blue team start to move towards the mine. This is kind of the first time we've ever seen a big fight over at the mine point. Most of the time it's been a 1v1, now a bit of a skirmish going on here. 2v2, and we do see both Traxful, and OX moving from mid node. They don't want to deal with it. They know if they hold a 2-cap, they can end up winning this game with just that. So pretty good move on their end to do that.
Yeah, Moves right now trying to stay alive. Look at all the damage that's being dropped upon him right here, and they're going to eliminate him, get the knockback as well. Didn't need to do that, but they're going to go ahead and secure the kill anyways. Aerox right now getting very low as well. Gets the immune, and he's going to be trying to pull away here with Trackful all over him here. Look at the HP on Aerox as he's going to go through the trap once again, and he's now at about 5k HP. Looks like he's going to try to make his way over to the midpoint.
Should be okay, I think. Only Trackful's
I'm not sure about that. He does have his shout heal coming off cooldown here, so he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah,
back up at 50% now, so he's looking okay.
Not a problem whatsoever. In there, we saw a really good portal from Q, who got the decap at the Henge, exactly what I was talking about. Good play from him to make good use of it. Now, if he can clean up that fight, has moves off respawn to try and win that fight for themselves and try and take a 2-cap. It's not too late in the game to get something going for themselves with the 2-cap, especially with both Jethan and Swan here. They can definitely take this game if they're able to keep it up over here at the Henge. Taking a look at what's going on, I'm not so sure they're making the right moves, sending moves back to the midpoint when they're just off-point skirmishes. I think they should have kept that 2v1 going.
Yeah, they absolutely should have. They need to win points right now. They need to kind of play off the rotational errors from Apex, and make sure that they get some overwhelming node pushes. I mean, they need to make sure that they can take out, especially someone like Tarsus. Putting him on respawn is such a good play to make. And right now he is so low. This is such a good spot for them to be in here, to have Tarsus this low, but they're not going to make any plays off it, as Ostrich is the first one to come in. Quill's just now going to be able to get some heals for him as well. And now look at Dr. Q, whose HP sitting now at 50%.
I don't understand that rotation from Moobs. They had the 2v1. They should have kept it because of Apex Prime's positioning around the midpoint. They're all below it. They weren't aggressively pushing towards it. What does Moobs do? He goes through the midpoint, forces a 1v2 over here at the mine point, able to stay alive, but they don't have a decap. Aerodynamics not going to give them any pressure whatsoever. That was, on my end, my opinion, a poor decision on their end. Even so, they get the full cap over there, but they could have had it much earlier. And now moving towards the Chieftain, it looks like. That's it. No, actually, no, they're not going to go for the Chieftain. 100 points away from victory for Apex Prime, who get the decap at the key.
Yeah, and they're going to try to go for the full cap here. We are actually going to see Aerox get the port up. Now they're going to be able to prevent that. Tarsus right now going to be in a little bit of a 2v1 until Ostrich can move in here, and he has finally made it now. So this is going to be a pretty important 2v2 here, as, I mean, blue team still is in a position to take this one back. They need to make sure that they win this very quickly, though. And at the rate that they're going, I'm not sure if it's going to be fast enough, or if they're even going to win it at all. Looking at the mine point right now, we are seeing Aerodynamic taking a lot of pressure, Moobs also taking a little bit as well, and they're getting CC'd all over the place. Morph getting a hard reset here. I'm not so sure about this.
Especially, it's just because of that rotation. I think they could have held that 2-cap easily, especially with the portal from Kyuhu. 100% could have held that 2-cap. I think that rotation over the mine was a poor choice on the side of Zero Counterplay, and because of that, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to hold on. 75 points away from victory for Apex Prime. All they need to do is hold on to that mine point, and they should be able to do just that, unless a miracle comes out here and they're able to clean up mid. It looks like Quilja is trying to get onto the point along with Ostrich Eggs, just a couple of ticks away here for Zero Counterplay to take the node, but still, they would have to do something extra on top of that.
They would have to do a lot extra on top of that to make sure that they get back into this one here. They're down 100 points, only 64 more points here for this red team to accumulate before they're the victors of this match and the victors of this series. Actually, we are seeing Ebno getting kind of low, but look at the health bars on Apex. They're slowly kind of dwindling right now. Tarsus going to be able to get that full heal off right here. Does dodge, though, so eliminates some of the potential healing that he could have had. He could have been at full HP, but now he's going to be in a lot of pain here, as he does have so many conditions on him still, going to be forcing himself out of here. It looks like Morph's going to try to get some health from
too. And Svanir going there in favor of Apex Prime. That will probably seal the deal, as we do see OEGS moving towards that node as well, just to secure it, as Hypno looking for a 1v1 against Trackful. And he knows it's over. Apex Prime going to be 2-0ing Zero Counterplay. Quite, that was a better game from Zero Counterplay, you have to admit. But a few faults on their end. I really think that could have went to a game number 3.
I mean, yeah, it definitely could have. Just a couple of mistakes on the maps, and it's honestly just kind of what you kind of, I guess, expect from an amateur team. I mean, and I don't mean to say amateur team in terms of their roster or anything like that, but they're just kind of new playing together. And these guys are professionals. They are in the Pro League for a reason. They're great players. It's a great roster, but they haven't really played together that long to actually develop enough of a synergy to kind of get these rotational errors out of the way, and then make sure that they aren't making these kinds of mistakes that they've been making in this last set, rather.
Yeah, I definitely think that is true. And, that was their first set in the Pro Leagues, as last week they did not play. And because of that, I think that was a bit of a wake-up call to what they might want to run in the future, because they did put up over 350 points on a very good Apex Prime team with moving Hypno over to the Revenant. I really like that change on their side. I think that if Kyuhu can continue to make more portal plays, I think that things could shape up and they could definitely take some sets off.
Yeah, and I like Kyuhu as a back point, actually, because, I mean, that condition pressure is very good. It does okay versus some really good players. I mean, Tarsus, in my opinion, is one of the better players in North America, and of course, one of the better Revenants too. I don't know if I would say best, but certainly a really strong Revenant, knows what he's doing. And Kyuhu was actually able to sustain that 1v1 for quite a period of time and actually put down a lot of pressure onto Tarsus.
And he actually killed him for that matter.
Yeah, actually killed Tarsus. Granted, had assistance, but was able to take it nonetheless. So that's honestly the big takeaway in my opinion. But that double Tempest, in my opinion, is what they need to stay with. Aerox needs to get a little bit more practice to become mechanically comfortable with that setup, but the double Tempest was working for them because it was forcing Morph actually to just rotate away from it, and it was causing them a lot of downtime in between fights for Apex, and it was working quite well, and that's why they had those 400 points, because of that double Tempest there.
Yeah, and I think something that they should work on is definitely keep what they have going. I liked Kyuhu, like you said, I like that point on him on the back point. I really think that worked very well. I think if they want to be able, if they could take something off of Apex, I think it would have been with a few better portal plays and a few better rotations on the side of the Revenants. I think that play from Moobs was very key to Apex actually solidifying that victory, because we would have seen Zero Counterplay take that 2-cap and definitely been able to hold on to it and made it much closer game throughout the Forest of Niflhel there. But Apex Prime doing a good job on their end as well. What do you take away from them winning that set?
Yeah, I mean, Apex right now looking really solid. They now have a 2-1 victory over PZ, a 2-0 victory over Zero Counterplay. They're now in content. I mean, they're going to be tied for first with anyone who actually wins from that first place set right now. So if Absurd wins, obviously they'll be tied with them, and then of course if Spooky wins as well. So or Final Form rather. So I mean, they're going to be in that spot right now, vying still for those top 2 slots. Apex looking very solid right now. Honestly, I think they're in a good position to at least be top 4 at this stage, but we'll have to see what happens because, I mean, right now we're just setting the stage for what's going to happen for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see how it plays out.
And they'll definitely be top 3 today, of course, assuming if the Absurd win, and then, of course, another undefeated team will go down today as Spooky does play against Final Form. And because of that, there will only be 3 undefeateds if the Absurd do happen to win their set. So, with that being said, Zero Counterplay falling, and now our 0-2 in their sets are at the very bottom. What do you think they need to get, start to, come together as a team? Do you like that comp swap coming out from them and see it in future? Because we saw it last week from other teams, but coming today, I'm not so sure we're going to see that same comps.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Mesmers today. I think they were trying to play off of that that kind of quick meta shift of Mesmers becoming very, very useful is what I'll say. But the thing is that the way that they play, the way that they use the Mesmers, I don't think it's as effective as the way that they use that Revenant, and I don't think it's as effective as the way that they use those Tempests. And honestly, I think if they play off of those things, if they get back together, coordinate, and start kind of making some adjustments so they're not making those critical errors, making those kind of play calls where it's very honestly the wrong play calls. Because I mean, if we look back at Temple of the Silent Storm, it's one of those things where, in my opinion, you have to be able to see those kinds of things. You have to be able to say, you know what, we have to give up this bottom thing. This bottom cap. We can't do anything about it. We're just going to be wasting resources here. We're wasting time. They already have a 2-cap. We need to make sure that we start contesting these points and get around the map and get some map control back, because even if we get this, we're going to lose it immediately. It's basically pointless.
Yeah, and with that said, our next matchup will, of course, be the Absurd up against Team PZ. What are your thoughts on that before we head to a break?
Yeah, so obviously I think Absurd is going to be the dominant team there, the favored team there. PZ coming off of a 1-2 dismissal, actually, by Apex Prime, getting them, sweeping them there a little bit. And I honestly think that PZ is looking to come back, and they're trying to prove right now that they deserve to be in the Pro League. So.
They definitely are looking for some revenge after last week's bitter loss on their end. And the Absurd, just a total powerhouse. We didn't see them last week, of course, as well. We were supposed to go up against Zero Counterplay. Now going up against Team PZ, who I've heard has been kind of struggling against them. We'll have to see how that works out for them. But guys, we are going to break, and when we're back, we'll have our next match, Team PZ up against the Absurd. Don't go anywhere. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Guild Wars 2 ESL Pro Leagues for North America, as we have our next matchup ready. That will be Team PZ up against the Absurd. Two really good teams going at it. What are your thoughts on this, Christian?
Yeah, this is a good one for sure. I mean, honestly, what it comes down to is the Absurd is the big team in NA right now. Everybody is trying to take them out in this series here. I mean, it's really coming down to this. PZ is a team that has a lot of great players on it. They have a great composition coming into this match. They've made a couple adjustments from last week to make sure that they don't have those same situations that we saw versus Apex Prime happen once again. And on this map, I actually feel like they feel really confident. So we'll have to see what happens. I think Absurd obviously has the upper hand in this matchup just because of all the synergy they have as a team. But PZ is one of those teams that could always be ready for an upset.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very difficult match for Team PZ, as today marks 1 year of the Absurd not dropping a single set to a North American team. That is quite the feat, I must say so myself. Yeah. And Team PZ, who lost last week to Apex Prime, coming in against this powerhouse, you know, on the Temple of Silent Storm, a map, excuse me, we have not seen from either team in quite some time. I don't think we've ever seen it from Team PZ, and the Absurd, it has been quite some time since we saw it from them in the WTS. So how do you think they're going to be able to fare on this one when it's completely different from the others?
Well, in terms of PZ, I think it really comes down to how Marvin plays, and we'll see actually in a moment what he's going to be playing. It's going to be a Mesmer, which is different than what we saw him playing last week, as he was playing the Scrapper build last week, has been playing the Scrapper for the past month, but recently over the last week has been practicing a lot with the Mesmer, been playing it very well, and playing sort of like a tank role, a little bit of support as well. And what he does in team fights has just the highest level of magnitude that I've seen coming out of a Mesmer in a very, very long period of time. He's done very well with the portals. He's worked on that for a long period of time as well. And honestly, what it comes down to, in my opinion, is the way that he uses that time warp in the team fights. It's so clutch, and I think we'll see a lot of that today. And if he can pull that off, I think they have a good shot.
All right, let's go ahead and head into our first map on the Temple of the Silent Storm, as we have both teams starting to join up here. Over on the red, that would be the Absurd, and over on the blue, we do have Team PZ. Now, of course, not all members have joined up here, but you know, seeing right from the get-go, normal the Absurd stuff with Toker on that Thief, the first Thief we have seen today. What are your thoughts on how he's going to be able to fare running this over something we've seen in the past when he ran some Revenant in past tournaments?
You know,
we'll have to see how he does. I mean, for the most part, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how it works out, because the only other Thief that we really see consistently is Cade, for that matter. And with that happening, I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be able to. I mean, of course, it is the Absurd, so they're a very dominant team, but we'll have to see how he fares against someone like K-Pud going up against him. Might see some 1v1s, but of course, still has that extremely high mobility for that, for the most part. But we'll have to see if we're going to see a portal come out from the side of the blue team. That would be with Marvin on the Mesmer. Now, of course, Wakey on that Elementalist as well, with Phantom on the Revenant, and Chade still on the Engineer for the most part. Why don't we go ahead and start some builds over on the side of the Absurd?
Yeah, starting off first here with Chase, we do have that hammer there on there already, and we're kind of used to seeing him play a lot of the rifle, of course, over a long period of time, but has done very well with the hammer as of late here. And he is going to be picking up that Marauder Amulet with Rune of Durability here, and he's going to be taking up Inventions, Alchemy, and Scrapper here, picking up that Slick Shoes as well. And I mean, the plays that you can make with the Slick Shoes there are just so crazy. I mean, especially against a team that doesn't have that much stab coverage, he's going to be able to litter the point with that and just put down so much pressure and basically be able to set up so many kills for his team. Looking next now at Phantom here, and Phantom's actually going to be picking up that Revenant here, and he is going to be taking up the Sword Shield, and this is a little bit different here. Going to be taking the Mace Axe now with Rune of Durability again, but with the Viper's Amulet now, and we've seen this a little bit in practice over the last week or so. Haven't seen it too much in a tournament setting, but the pressure that this one puts out is absolutely insane, especially with that Viper's Amulet. That Mace Axe setup is going to put down so much condition pressure, and with Retribution, Corruption, and Herald as his specializations, he's going to be tanky, and he's going to still be able to dish out a ton of damage and a lot of consistent damage, because it's not going to necessarily come out all in spikes, but it's going to be able to sustain over a long period of time. Next up, though, we do have Magic Toker, and he's going to be on the Thief like we were talking about there, and he's going to be picking up that Dagger Pistol with the short bow, running those runes of the Daredevil and the Marauder Amulet there. He's going to be picking up Trickery, Deadly Arts, and Daredevil there, and he's going to be picking up those 2 physical skills, of course, with the Elite there, and he's going to be taking up Signet Agility with that Shadow Step. So, I mean, honestly, this is something that we're kind of sort of used to seeing him run, and it's interesting to see him on that Thief. I mean, of course, when we all know that he can multi-class, he's able to play some of these other roles, and people aren't really convinced at this stage that Thief is, I guess.
I mean, you're talking about the best Thief in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely right now. Who's
NA, at least, for sure.
two-time world champion. I mean, it's arguable best Thief in the game for that matter. Who knows?
Yeah.
But even so, you're talking about the best Thief, and of course, at any other level of play, Thief isn't said to be one of the best classes, but Toker doing what he can to make it the best, it can possibly be, and because of that, being one of the best at it, he definitely has more of an impact than most other people who would play Thief right now would.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I think anybody that doesn't agree with that is just out of their mind. I mean, Toker is such a solid player on this role here and does so much with it that he does actually make it not just viable, because Thief is viable. It's just he makes it extremely, like you say, that word impactful, and that's what it really comes down to. But next up, we do have Wakey, another very strong impact player for this Abjured team, picking up that Elementalist there, taking up Dagger Focus with Runa Soldier and Celestial Amulet. He's taking up Earth, Water, and Tempest for his specializations. Still going with that triple shot there. He's taking up Fiery Greatsword.
It's interesting to see Fiery Greatsword in him rather than Rebound. And Rebound, pretty much, a decent defensive measure, a good amount of mobility with that FGS for the most part, and even downstate cleave for that matter. So the Abjured, I would say, feeling pretty confident with running that instead of something like Rebound.
Yeah, they definitely do. I mean, you have to consider that. I mean, with all the team support that Rebound's going to put out, if they're going to go for Fire Greatsword, all they really want to do is make sure that they're making plays on all these points on Temple here. That's what they really want. They want to get all the control across the entire map, and that's what Wakey does. That's what he does all the time. He gets control of the node, and he never loses it. He's very good at doing that, and that's why I consider him personally an impact player for this team. And next up, we do have Nos. He's going to be picking up that Necro as per usual here with Bifrost, sorry, with the staff there, and then with the Dagger and the Warhorn, with Rune of Air actually, and the Barbarian Amulet, taking up Soul Reaping, Spite, and Reaper here, running that Corrosive Poison Cloud, as opposed to the Plague Signet that has become very widely known as what has made Necro so strong recently.
That is very interesting indeed. 31,200 health on the side of Nos. On top of that, he has Reaper Shroud. So he is going to be putting out a lot of damage. He is also going to be very, very hard to take down on the side of this blue team.
So the big thing I think that people need to recognize is that, first of all, I am not convinced that he's running this. And the reason I say that is he is running Corrosive Poison Cloud, and when you're taking Corrosive Poison Cloud with the Reaper, you can use that, or you can use Chillblades, the Staff 3 skill, and you can go into that Reaper shot and use the World Finishers, and the poison damage that it stacks up is absolutely insane. So I have to imagine that he's doing this just to kind of hide his build from the other team right now, as we are waiting still for someone from the blue team to actually make it here and get back onto the team there. But, I think that he's going to be playing something a little bit more conditions-based, I have to assume, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go ahead and take a look at the blue team. That would be Team PZ, who have 4 out of 5 joined up here. First up, we have K-Pud running the staff. Actually, no, he's not going to be showing us his build right now. Looking at Java, first off, he'll be playing the Elementalist with the Dagger Focus. We're going to the Soldier, Celestial Amulet. He'll be taking Earth, Water, and Tempest. So similar build to what we saw from Wakey there, but on the side of Java, he's going to be running Rebound. This is kind of the more popular elite to take, but the FGS on the side of Wakey, we mentioned earlier, going to be a little bit more of an offensive thing to use, an offensive measure for that matter. Next up, Marvin going to be playing that Mesmer, that bunker, sort of bunkerish Mesmer that you were talking about before. He is going to be running with the Sword, Shield, and Staff. Rune of Durability with the Cleric's Amulet. He's going to be taking Chaos, Inspiration, and Chronomancer. So this is going to be a build like none other that we've seen. How do you think this is going to be faring against the Abjured?
I was talking about this a little bit before. It kind of comes down to how Marvin plays. And honestly, this is a build that he has really kind of very quickly picked up and very quickly, actually, in my opinion, kind of mastered. He's done very well with it. He's been queuing pretty much non-stop for the past week with a lot of his teammates, especially Java, and they've been kind of playing it off and trying to get some synergy with it and trying to figure out the best way to play it out. And I think Marvin actually has figured out a really great way to play it. I think he's a good engineer, but I think he's going to play so much better in this position with this particular profession, playing on this build. It just has such an impact in all the team fights. He's able to get to anyone that he wants. He does very well with the portal. Certainly, in my opinion, better than what Q-Hu does, as we saw in the last match, as well as Hypno. But I think we're going to be seeing Mesmer on a whole different level with this series.
And he is also running that time warp, so I feel like that time warp is going to be more of a defensive measure, perhaps even, as it does bring both that. But we do have 5 members. Let's go ahead and finish up these builds as all 10 people are in this match. Muffin's going to be running with the Sword Shield with the staff, running Rune of Holbrook and Celestial Amulet. He'll be running Devastation, Corruption, and Herald for himself. K-Pud going to be running the second Revenant with that staff, Sword, Shield, Rune of Holbrook as well, with Marauder Amulet going to be taking up Devastation, Invocation, and Herald. I love this build. This is my favorite. And finally, Zeus is on Guardian today. Oddly enough, running with the Sword, Focus, Longbow, Rune of the Trapper, Marauder Amulet. He will be running Valor of Virtues and Dragon Hunter for himself. So what do you think with triple trap, actually running 3 traps on his side with JI? A lot of bursts going to be coming out from Zeus. What do you think about the swap from the Mesmer over to the Guardian for him?
Yeah, I mean, Zeus, I think this will kind of play a little bit better here. I wasn't totally convinced with Zeus's play on a Mesmer. I think he feels really good with it, but I'm not sure if it's really going to make as much of an impact as potentially what this Dragon Hunter can do in these team fights. I think that he would try to take a lot of more 1v1s in some of these fights with playing the Chronomancer, and I think he feels a lot better as a team fighter. I think that playing off of Marvin would be the best situation for him, and so going with the Dragon Hunter is definitely a solid pickup, and I really do like it. They're going to be able to get some pulls, set up some kills with it, and honestly just get so much control on that point. I think it's really important that he made that switch. They still have the double Revenant there at their disposal. They still have that Tempa for support. They still have Marvin for support. They needed something that has a lot of impact in these team fights, and they found it.
Yeah, I think Marvin on the Mesmer is going to be given a bit more support overall as a whole than the Engineer was, because I don't feel like he was in a whole lot of team fights necessarily against Apex Prime last week. So have to see how he works out with Java, of course, giving out some support to the rest of the team. Now, the offensive pressure will be coming out from Muffins, K-Pud, and Zeus. It's really going to be up to how well they could coordinate this damage up against, people like Panoram and Toker in particular, as Toker is going to be all over the map. We'll have to see if they're going to be actually, normally the main target for a lot of teams might be Nos, but now that he's running a bit of a different build, actually changed up his amulet for that matter. He's actually running Celestial, so he's back to that normal build. That build might have been a fake. It might have been the best build in the game. Who knows until we actually see it in action from him, but he's back on the triple Signet Necro.
Yeah, so he has picked that back up, and this is definitely a really solid build for him to be using, but honestly, I kind of expect him to do some kind of weird stuff today. I feel like he's done a lot of practicing over the past week, and he feels really comfortable with some very interesting choices and playing off of some of those world finishers, especially with the Poison Field. That's very, very strong. But it looks like he is going to be opting to go with this particular setup at first, as he knows that it's going to be viable. He knows it's going to be working. It's going to be very good. So,
yeah, definitely so. And unfortunately, guys, we are going to head to a short break because there is a bit of a technical difficulty on one of the teams. So we're going to head to a short break, and when we're back, hopefully we will have Team PZ up against the Abjured. Stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American Pro League, as we do have our match ready to go with the Abjurd up against Team PZ. Sorry about the technical difficulties there, as we do have everything under order and all ready to go in this second matchup of the day on the Temple of the Silent Storm. What are your predictions for this one, Herix?
You know, I think that Absurd is going to take this one. PZ, though, is looking pretty strong. The composition is looking solid. I think that PZ is going to do actually quite well, especially on this map. But I think Absurd, in the end, is going to take this map.
We will have to see as we move on to the map on the Temple of the Silent Storm. Take a look at the opening splits for game number 1 between the Abjurd and Team PZ, as both these teams looking for a victory here. Opening split would be, looks like Toker actually going to the Temple, and perhaps Muffin or Zeus will be heading to that altar node. Looks like Muffin's a bit of miscommunication there, but a big cross, a big skirmish going to be going on near the top up.
Yeah, and it's going to be Fanaram versus Java here. We actually are going to be seeing Nas add to this one as well. They're going to be putting down a lot of condition pressure onto Java, and we are actually seeing Chaith add to this one here, forcing Java off. K-Pud going to come in now as well, and now they're looking to take down K-Pud, who's already at 40% HP, 30% actually. It's still dropping a little bit here.
Yeah, he's under a lot of pressure. Good pressure coming out there from Fanaram and Chaith all alike, but this mid fight's still going on. We do see the decap actually came out there. 10 points. Actually, no, there's a full cap going on somewhere here for the red team. I believe Toker able to pick up the cap over here at the Temple, despite the scoreboard not showing it there. Still in a 1v1 against Marvin, who's trying to get this decap at the midpoint. Looks like Java is under a lot of pressure, might be taken into the downstate. He has multiple members of the Abjurd on top of him, training him down, able to stay alive. Slick Shoes coming out there from Chaith. He is taken into downstate, uses favor form right away. By mistake, it looks like it's Zeus going in for the res right away.
They're able to, oh, they weren't able to, he was stalled at 99%. I can't believe they didn't get him up, and Zeus is gonna fall now too. And they're gonna walk away feeling pretty good about themselves, heading back over now to the altar point. We're right here. We're already seeing Wakey going into downstate.
And it looks like, unfortunately, the technical difficulties have come back up once again, and we are forced to end this game and restart it from scratch. Unfortunate for the most part there, but the Abjurd coming out with a, at the start of that one, looking pretty strong nonetheless.
Yeah, they were looking pretty strong. They already had a 29-0 lead, won that team fight at mid. They were looking really solid, but unfortunately, we had to end that one there due to a technical difficulty, like you said. So we're going to be going to the map rotation, bringing it back. I think everything is settled. I'm not quite sure yet, but as soon as it is, we'll have that game ready to go, finally, hopefully, and we will be able to see that game between Abjurd and PZ.
Yeah, definitely so. And, the Abjurd opening up pretty strong there. Team PZ definitely faltering at some point along the line at that midpoint. We saw Zeus go down. We saw another member of their team go down, and lucky for them, they will get another chance on Temple of the Silent Storm. Any adjustments you think right away from that?
Yeah, this is actually kind of a blessing in disguise for Team PZ, because right there, I mean, we already saw them kind of slowly losing that. It was unraveling for them very, very quickly, and they will now be able to see basically the mistakes that they made, see if they can make any adjustments. And honestly, the ones that I think they need to make, talking about your question there, is honestly they need to make sure that they play off of that midpoint, or at least get something on Toker, force them away at least, because if they can push Toker off of that, they're going to be in a much better position to at least prevent some of those early points that were getting capped away by Toker there.
Yeah, and if Marvin wants to get over to that Temple node right away and contest it, he needs to get there fast, because they were starting to rack up the points just from that. And they would have taken the 2 cap very quickly, because no way K-Pud was going to stick around at the gate.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not. But the thing about Marvin is I think that he needs to be in a lot of these team fights, actually, because of the support that he provides is going to be so good in a lot of those team fights. And I mean, he's really good in holding those 1v1s, but he's not really going to be winning them, even against someone like Toker, where Toker's going to be able to stall that fight out a lot as well. He might get a little bit of node control, but not that much. The pressure isn't that high. So I would actually like to see him in a lot more of those team fights, especially the ones at mid, because he can get the slow out. He can make sure that a lot of that damage is prevented, and he can get his durability roots out there as well. So.
And I think we're, maybe not from the Abjurd, but definitely from PZ, I think we might see a bit of a different opening split coming out from them. It looked like a little bit of hesitation on their side of who was going to cap the home node right away, and K-Pud, or excuse me, I believe that was Zeus, didn't seem entirely sure where he wanted to go right from the get-go. And we saw Marvin actually move over to that Temple, like I said, forcing a 1v1 against Toker, but unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to put out a lot of damage on Toker. It looks like Toker actually was winning that matchup in the 1v1 against Marvin, and that's really good on the side, because that is not necessarily something, Marvin wants to be in that early on. A 1v1 against Toker on a node that they already hold.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Marvin's not going to be able to really do much, like I said, and even like you said, he's not going to be able to do much. I think Marvin in a different position would be a lot better for them, especially on a fight like mid or even taking the fight away from home where they can then have control over it. I think that would be a much better slot to put Marvin in. Make someone else put the pressure far, someone that can at least pressure the Thief off of the point, so at least they can get the decap, if nothing else. So I think they can kind of take this opportunity to see those kinds of mistakes and see those kinds of adjustments and make them for the next match.
And kind of move back, take a step back and look at what went wrong at the opening, of that game. It didn't feel like they had a whole lot of coordination at the midpoint, with Zeus being on top of a member of that the Revenants were on, for that matter, trying to get both of those Revenants and Zeus on the same page with each other. Of course, one of them was at their home node, trying to get the cap in a 1v1 there. But even so, they have to be on the same page trying to take down members like the Abjured was. When we saw a member of Team PZ get low at the mid-fight, you saw both Nas, Chaith, and I believe there was another member moving all on top of him, all fighting to get that kill. And they got the stomp just barely, because Team PZ was barely missed that res, and got the kill onto Zeus as well.
Yeah, and that was actually Java that went down, and they were able to get him, and they hovered him there at about 90% HP in the downstate. So they were almost, they were just that close from getting him up and having him back into that fight where Java would have made all the difference in making sure that Zeus didn't go down. But of course, they weren't able to get that, they weren't able to clutch that res out. And then, of course, we did see Zeus go down as well. So then Abjured was looking very solid, like we talked about, and going into making sure that they had map control on both their home node and mid. At that point, they're looking solid to putting pressure far and doing exactly what they do all the time, hold defaults, make sure that nobody can cross into their area of the map, which is 66% or more, and they just win off of that every single time.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to see if PZ will change it up. I anticipate Marvin still moving to that far node, but maybe not necessarily changing up the opening split, but changing what they're going to be doing right at the start of the game, because it didn't really look like going into it they had a very solid plan, right? Like I said from the get-go, they seemed unsure of who was actually going to cap their home node, for that matter, and that's not a great way to start. So we'll have to see if they will make some adjustments. And speaking of which, what do you expect from them in this second iteration of the game?
I think that they're definitely going to be changing the way that they come out of the gate. For sure, they have to make that kind of adjustment first of all. That's the most important step, because that's the main thing that they messed up last time. That's pretty much the only thing they had time to mess up last time. It was over so quick, unfortunately, because of that technical issue. But I would definitely like to see Marvin involved in something more defensive, because when he goes for that aggressive play, I don't think he has the ability to actually take that aggression and actually push a point to a decap situation, because he doesn't have the pressure. He's not able to get anything going. So I honestly think that I definitely want to see Marvin in a different position. I do like Java and helping out with those team fights. He's very clutch in those scenarios as well. So I would like to see that more from him as well, and making sure that they get a little bit more synergy and some more communication going forward.
Let's go ahead and hop into our game as both teams are finally ready here.
Finally,
on
boys.
The Temple of the Silent Storm, as we can hopefully get this one underway fairly quickly. Looks like, of course, the game really hadn't progressed very far. 29 points to the Abjured with 1 cap, and it looked like possible 2 caps. So it doesn't look like anything crazy is going to be happening here with any comp swaps for the most part.
All right, it looks like we are just moments away from having Chaith back in this game. Everything is going to be figured out here, so we will finally be underway here with this match.
Yeah, definitely. So, and for those of you wondering about what was going on there, we want the highest quality game, so we want to make sure all the players are running the anti-cheat program properly. We are working with Chaith to make sure he is going, he's all set and going through this next match. Hopefully everything will be okay with both of these teams.
Yeah, a little bit of an issue with his anti-cheat. We just want to make sure, like he said, that everything was going smoothly. We want to make sure that everything here is, 100%. We want to make sure nothing is going to happen. Of course, we don't expect someone from the Abjured, someone of Chaith's magnitude.
It's just every team has to be treated the same.
Exactly.
So moving into this, not that we're expecting anything, we just need to make sure that all teams are on the same page and all working the same. And with that being said, hopefully we can get this first game back up and ready and move on and see what will come. If any adjustments whatsoever, that's my main wonder. What I'm wondering the most, if any adjustments, mainly on the side of PZ, because the Abjured, honestly, they are confident about anything they do going into any match. If you get a game, if they're up 200-0 and they have to restart, I feel like going into the next iteration of they'd be up 200-0 anyways, because they're so confident about what they're going into every single match.
Yeah, absolutely. So We do have, it doesn't look like anybody's making too many adjustments here like you were talking about, and we are still seeing Nas still on that Celestial Amulet with the Rune of Strength, his old build there with the staff, Dagger War Horn, running with that Plague Signet once again, not going for that that Corrosive Poison Cloud there. So definitely interesting. I'm sort of wondering if he's going to be making any changes going forward and seeing if we might see a Condi build come out from him, or sorry, a more specific type of Condi build where it's actually full on Condi. The Celestial build definitely really strong, but I'm thinking more of something with a lot of poison pressure, a lot of poison stacking, and a lot of team fight potential because of the fact that you get a lot of those big Condis stacked up real high and you do a lot of damage pressure. I'm sort of interested in seeing if he's going to be doing one of those types of builds for us today, because I know that he's been toying with it in the past, but I mean, we do have everybody here, and I think we're finally ready to play.
We are ready to go.
I think we're finally ready to play, boys.
Get started with our second match of the day. The Absurd up against Team PZ. Should be an exciting one nonetheless as we start on the Temple of the Silent Storm here. As we're about to get this one underway, let's go ahead and take a look at our map as we get this opening splits for both of these teams. The Absurd over on the red with PZ over on the blue. Like I said earlier, very curious to see if there's going to be any changes in opening splits, especially coming out from this blue team. And it looks like perhaps we will see something. Toker's still going to that temple, still have Muffins going to the altar, and a bit of a different split coming out for this blue team. It looks like it's K-Pud now moving towards that temple node as well, and we're going to see an Elementalist Wakey move back with him.
This is much better in my opinion. They still have Marvin going far, but they've added K-Pud, who has so much damage here, and Marvin's going to be able to support him throughout this entire fight here, and they're going to be able to put so much pressure down at the Toker. And it looks like actually K-Pud's going to be going for that 1v1 here, and he has the ability to get that decap. Someone with the pressure to go for that decap. This is exactly what I was talking about here. And looking back at this mid-fight, Java getting kind of low actually already here, sitting now at about 20%. But Marvin, in my opinion, if Java goes down, Marvin's going to get him back up almost instantly. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Wow, really good res coming out from them. That's the good thing about the time warp. Now Panoram's under a whole lot of pressure here. He should be able to keep himself alive with his heals and whatnot, but the cap at the altar happened and is now a completely different opening from what we saw coming out there from Team PZ, who have a very, very small lead at the start of this one. Panoram still under a lot of pressure coming out from Zeus and sticking on top of him. Meanwhile, Nas is trying to put out the pressure onto Muffins, chasing him all over the place.
Yeah, now look who has the lead here. 2-cap in favor of PZ. On top of them here, 25-9 right now. A lot of good control coming out from this blue team. And look how spread Absurd is right now. This is the kind of stuff that you don't typically see from the Absurd. They're usually in full control of the map right now. Panoram is getting really low. So much Condi pressure being dropped on top of him. He does get that resistance out though, and he is able to stay alive for a little bit here. But in a couple of moments, that resistance is going to fade, and he's going to have Zeus to answer.
Yeah, this is a really good job from PZ, sticking on top of Panoram, but regardless, they're going to be giving up the midpoint as K-Pud was taken out in that 1v2 between Chaith and Wakey there, and they're still holding on to the sides. It's okay. Look at Panoram, 540 health. Gets taken down there by Zeus. Toker should have the res, and that's okay, but they took out a lot of time. Actually, Zeus coming in, putting down the pressure, putting down the traps. He has only a couple of seconds. Toker's forced off, and Zeus picking up the kill onto Panoram there, while the rest of both teams are actually moving back towards that altar, and now we have a 60-point lead for PZ. What a change the opening split went, happened. What it gave PZ at the opening game.
Yeah, and Zeus set that kill up completely. I mean, he got the downstate, but it was honestly Marvin who secured that. That Tides of Time coming down onto the Thief there, onto Toker. Honestly, in my opinion, is what secured that. We do see Java in the downstate, though. K-Pud getting extremely low, and the damage coming out from Toker, Chaith, and Nas is just absolutely overwhelming here as Muffins is forced off as well. Nas getting kind of low. Actually, everyone getting kind of low in this fight here. Wow. If you look here, Nas right now at about 30% HP. K-Pud just trying to stay alive right now at about 10% HP. And Toker is eliminated by the trap. Dodges right into it.
Wow, and now we have Marvin, coming in for the stomp. Oh no! The kill on the K-Pud happens and gets him back up into the fight. Oh my goodness, what a play. That changed everything, especially with Phantom off of respawn. Should be able to get the full cap over there at the temple before Muffins makes it in. He does indeed, and there's the 2-cap and the decap from the Absurd. This is why they are so dominant. No problem whatsoever cleaning up some of their mistakes early on.
Yeah, and this is a 2-cap right now in favor of the Absurd here, and they're going to basically just get back to where they kind of feel comfortable. If you look at it, they have that aggression far, they have a good amount of control throughout the map. They're controlling the points that they have control over. And Muffin's right now getting kind of low in this 1v1 versus Fanaram. He's feeling really confident about this one here, as Muffin's now at about 10% HP. Looks like he's going to end this one in just a matter of time here, so he's going to be able to bleed him out or go for the stomp. Java pulling over now to try to get some contention onto the temple here and maybe prevent this stop, but was not able to do it. So now he's going to be going to this point and maybe trying to take a kill on Fanaram.
He's going to be under a lot of pressure. Look at the burn stacking up onto him. He needs to be careful. Toker knows he needs help. He's going to get over here. Should be able to support him for the time being. At least get on the point. Let Fanaram hold himself up. Java getting out of here doesn't want anything to do with that. Now the Abjured are going to be gaining the lead in a matter of seconds. Meanwhile, at the top buff, we see K-Pod taking down Nas. And Wakey coming in, but oh, Toker's coming in as well. Should be able to get the rest. I'm not so sure. Oh my goodness, Nas will be back up into this fight, undoubtedly, and now a huge team fight going to be going up near the stillness buff.
Yeah, and K-Pod needs to be careful. He was able to get that full heal there from the backstab coming out from Toker with that Herald heal, but he was forced right back off. The pressure from actually Nas's downstate primarily was just completely overwhelming, so he's going to be forced back over to the midpoint where Wakey's going to be sitting there waiting for him. And still, Abjured with that 2-cap, getting the lead back here and gaining control once again.
They are all over the map right now. We see the mobility coming alive here for Toker and Fanaram. They are just making plays everywhere, plussing fights, winning them pretty easily, forcing Team PZ out of every single node, and still holding Marvin, who's done a great job early on this game, but is now stuck over here at the temple node, and they're not able to do anything with him or the rest of this blue team for that matter. There's the time warp when out trying to take out Jade, who is sustaining himself so well, and the rest of the Abjured just moving towards that stillness buff, trying to pick it up as they get the kill onto Nas, who might actually be taken out for good. Look at the health bars. Nas gets stomped as Team PZ trying to get something going just 5 minutes into this game.
And this is why I like this Dragon Hunter pick, because honestly, Zeus is going to be able to pick people off slowly one by one, and whenever they try to go in for those reses that Abjured has been very known for doing, they go for it every single time for the most part. I mean, you're going to be able to put down the Dragon Hunter traps, and you might actually be able to swing a big fight there, and they've been able to get points because of that. They've been able to gain control of areas of the map because of that and that alone.
Yeah, and now Zeus going to be plussed by Toker as he's in the 1v1 against Fanaram, who honestly I feel like should be able to win this matchup. Zeus is out of cooldowns now, aside from Renewed Focus. Fanaram doing what he can to take him out. The decap, of course, came out early on. Zeus was able to get it for free. And the stillness buff still going hard for both of these teams. And PZ's not out of this, but they definitely gave up a lead that they had big time as the Abjured just stormed their way back into this and now doing an excellent job as we see fights all over the map. And Tranquility actually up. Marvin is down here alone.
Yeah, right here we're seeing Fanaram actually in a 1v1 with Zeus, where Zeus actually is doing quite a good job of sustaining here. Was doing a good job of sustaining here, but then got Condi bombed there by Fanaram and was eliminated, and now he's going to be down off point.
Oh, here's the buff. K-Pod going in for the Trank buff. He should be able to get it. We're going to see a 3-cap come out here. It's instantly going to be a 2-cap though, as we will see Fanaram get the decap over at the temple node, and Team PZ is back in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Chade's going to go ahead and get the top buff for free, but Red Team right now without a node here. Just a matter of time, though, until Nas gets control of the altar, and they're going to be able to have that.
That's a crucial 1v1, to be honest. Nas winning that, now they won't have that 2-cap in their favor, and Nas going to be able to probably pick up that cap unless we see something, a good rotation come out from PZ. Meanwhile, you know, they're only down 27 points here, but without a cap, as mid was just given up. I'm very confused why they wanted to go for that. No reason for them to put give up their only point, and now there's a 2-cap in the favor of the Abjured because of that move.
Yeah, K-Pod right now looking relentless as he takes down Toker, heading over now to take up Wakey, and Zeus right there is on the point with them, and Fanaram's going to be forced to come over and try to follow through with Java and try to get some support to his teammate, because Wakey does need it in this situation. There's so much damage on that point with the double rev there, and they're going to put down all the damage that they have into Fanaram, who blocks all of it there. Yeah, Zeus not able to get that pull there in time.
Zeus didn't do a very good job there of lining up his burst. He put down all of his traps when Wakey was invulnerable, and Wakey took like 10% damage when he came out, so very poor job on his end, especially when they went in back for the burst on Fanaram. Fanaram just blocked it all, so really good job for the Abjured there, as Zeus is now taken out of the fight. Oh, so is Java, and things just not working out here for Team PZ at the midpoint, as we are going to see more than likely a 3-man wipe, as K-Pod will not be able to survive for much longer. Regardless, Muffin should be able to pick up the cap at the altar, but I feel the score doesn't accurately represent how dominating the Abjured are right here.
Yeah, I mean, Marvin right now is doing a good job of, I guess, holding Chaith off, but he's not, like, once again, the thing about Marvin's build is that in this 1v1, he's going to be able to hold it, but when they're holding basically nothing, I mean, this is a contested point, he's able to get some, he's doing something by neutralizing it, but honestly, that's all he's really doing. He's never going to win this, he's never going to lose this. It's just up to his team to make that adjustment and move over, because right now they kind of need to win this, and this is a situation that they really kind of could take advantage of. However, they're moving into altar, which they could potentially lose that one. Nos, though, getting kind of low in this situation here.
And that's a good point. Marvin running that build, it's not meant for him to just kind of sit. It's meant, if he has the point, it's meant for him to sit there, but he doesn't. So it's just going to be a 1v1 that may never end, and that's okay with the Abjure because they have a lead right here. Trank buff, or excuse me, Stillness buff is up in 30 seconds. We will see a decap from K-Pug come out for respawn at the gate node, which is a really good decision on his end. They're trying to get back in this one, 10 seconds, but Muffin taken down over here at the altar node. The stomp coming out there from Fanaram, and it looks like Zeus will be the next target as he is getting pretty low here, and more than likely will be taking it out. Meanwhile, Marvin still in that 1v1. He's slowly dying here, but Trank is, or excuse me, Stillness is back up, and whoever takes this, I think, will take the game.
Yeah, honestly, it really could come down to that. We are going to be seeing a big team fight on this top buff. Looks like blue team was able to get the gate back, and Muffins is going to be in charge of kind of sticking around, making sure nobody takes that one from them, because they need that point and they need to hold on to it for a while here. We are going to be seeing here actually Java versus Wakey on the top buff. We're still looking at that 1v1 over there. Marvin right now actually dipping now to about 40% HP, forced to throw out the time warp just to try to stay alive, take a little bit less pressure here. And now he is...
He also used his portal, oddly enough. Probably one of the best portal plays I've ever seen in Guild Wars 2 right there. But the cap coming out there from Chaith,
yeah,
and the 2 cap is kind of sealing the deal.
That portal definitely was going down for that resistance for sure. I mean, that's that was the reason why he did it.
100%.
He's sitting at 30% HP.
Not to say it wasn't for that, but even so, I mean, he was giving his last-ditch effort there. He probably could have used it at the end there when he put it down and then just left the node and tried to come back for a decap later, but decides to use it defensively for that matter and leaves the fight regardless. Not so keen on that, but even so, Marvin taken down at the midpoint, and we will more than likely, you know, only 100 points away from a victory with the 2 cap for the Abjured. Trank up in a minute and a half. Is it going to last that long for PZ?
Honestly, at this point, with Chaith going to be able to, I mean, he's going to be able to take this full cap here. They're still looking very good at, you know, around the rest of the map. We did see actually that top buff. We are going to be seeing Zeus going into downstate here. It looks like Muffin's going to go in for that res there with Java, but I just don't think that they have it. The cleave coming out from Abjured right now is just absolutely ridiculous here, and they're going to go for the cap here, Wakey right now, but it looks like Muffin's actually going to make a move, a really dangerous move, just to prevent that cap. Kepa was in a position to prevent that himself, but now Muffins is going to be taking a lot of heat for that one.
He actually managed to do a good job there and stays alive. Now we see him trying to follow up on Toker, who headed out going for the decap over here at the altar, but even so, 2 cap still prevailing here for the Abjured, who get the decap just barely from Magic Toker. Fanaram looking back over at the temple knows they're 50 points away from victory. 3 minutes and 10 seconds left in this game. They should be able to seal the deal here, as they will be starting out 1-0 in the set if they can close it up in the remaining seconds.
Yeah, it looks like with only 3 minutes left, with all this control coming out from Abjured, it looks like the Abjured is going to take this. And Fanaram right now doing such a good job of just pushing everyone off of his temple node. That's his right now. That's his node right now. Doesn't want anyone going over there. He's going to be forcing Java back over to the midpoint right here, where Toker and Nos have eliminated K-Pud. And now, honestly, Java doesn't even know where to go with Fanaram right on his tail.
Well, that will be game in just a second here, as the Abjured will be starting out 1-0 over Team PZ. A very dominant game from the Abjured, but nonetheless, you have to give it to Team PZ. At the start of that one, they looked very impressive, looked like a team all together, coming together, making plays at the start of the game, but the Abjured just capitalizing on their mistakes and taking that game away.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really looked like PZ had a shot in the beginning. They had good control across the map, and then they kind of over-invested, and they lost a really critical team fight, and they had to pull out. They lost a little bit of map control because of it, and then started kind of quickly disintegrating from that point on. But still holding on a little bit here and there, gaining map control when they could, and were able to manage to get. They were able to get 350 points there at least. So. They still did it well, and I think that was honestly their map to do well. I think in Forest, it's really going to be Abjured's game, and I think they're really going to control it. We're going to see a lot of the same thing where we see them taking some aggression far, maybe trying to force that one, and then pulling back, getting home point, getting keep, and then controlling that 70% of the map.
Yeah, and I think the only way Team PZ can really stand out on the Force of Nivelle, really start to make a push for winning a game number 2, would be for them to do what they did at the start of that game and continue with it. Because if they start out even with the Absurd here, the Absurd just naturally take it away from then on out. If they start out behind in this second map, the Absurd are going to keep them behind for most of the game. So it's really going to be up to them to try and surprise the Absurd, which is very difficult for that matter on this Force of Niflhel. But let's go ahead and move over to our second map as we have both teams joined up, waiting to begin on the Forest here. What are your predictions, and what do you think Team PZ can do to try to force a game number 3?
Honestly, again, it comes down to the splits. If they get control early, which is possible against Absurd. I mean, teams have done it. Teams have done it. Actually, I would even go as far as to say, I mean, not consistently is the word I would use, but I mean, it has happened frequently enough to say that it happens. I mean, it does happen often enough.
It really does. That's a good point.
It really comes down to if they're able to hold it, and so far teams haven't had ways to actually hold it. And on this map especially, it comes down to controlling Toker. And Toker, honestly, is the biggest player on Absurd in this map because of the way that he gets those decaps, because of the way that he plays the map. He forces people out of team fights, and he makes it basically super easy for Absurd to control all these team fights and win them very handedly because Toker's pulling people off left and right.
Definitely. So game number 2 about to commence. Let's take a look at the map for the opening splits on the Force of Nivlhel, as it looks like we're going to have crossers for both teams. Looks like 4 for PZ, 3 coming out. Let's take a look at the skirmish on the beach. Actually, no skirmishes. Both teams coming out in stealth. Toker actually caught out a little bit, took a little bit of damage, but should be okay as we're seeing a 3-node split, kind of identical to what we saw in the last game for both of these teams for that matter. And Muffins expects a 2v1, actually going to head out of that node, give it up for free to the Absurd, which means they need to take advantage of the numbers at the midpoint. And I'm not exactly sure it's going to work out with the skirmish going down below key.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing blue team already trying to get some skirmish kills here. It didn't work out for them, so now they're going to be losing a little bit of control across the map in terms of node control. Nos right now getting pretty low. Toker actually taking a lot of pressure. They might actually get a kill out of this, perhaps, as Toker now is getting extremely low, not about 5%. Still dipping, was able to get out for alive just a little, but does indeed get eliminated there by Zeus. And Kepa now is struggling to stay alive as well, but they are certainly going to pick off Toker.
Very, very good pickup nonetheless. And I didn't really expect them to be able to get a kill on the Absurd in the skirmishes. I expected the Absurd to sustain the fight until they got their guy back from the henge node after they got the cap. And because of it, they pick up that kill. Red team takes the 2 cap though, as Marvin was forced out of there. And this is what happens. If you're behind early from the Absurd, it's going to be very difficult for Team PZ to get back into this one. And if they wipe at this mid node, they are going to be in some deep trouble.
Yeah, right here, Muffins is getting actually into downstate, but we are going to be seeing the res come up. Do they have the ability to get it? They don't have time up here. They do get it from that continuum shift there, and they're going to get him back up because of it. And now we're going to be seeing Muffins once again in a position where he's taking so much pressure, does take the portal out, and trying to get the 1v1 off on Toker. And we have to remember, actually, as he is taking this 1v1, he's kind of low on cooldowns right here, so definitely not an advantageous situation to portal into, but now he has to basically live with it.
Yeah, and Toker looking so healthy, looking so good right here. Muffin's already at about 20% HP. Might get the decap, but we'll have to see as Muffins doesn't have a whole lot left. Checking back on the other nodes though, Zeus going for the decap over at the henge. She is being pursued by Phantom, who gets on the point just barely as he looks to take on that 1v1, and the 2 cap not happening for the Absurd right now, but still absolutely dominating early on.
Yeah, Muffins actually did manage to get control of that mine point, so now they do have at least something here. Toker coming back into it though, so they do manage to get the cap, but it could potentially lead to Muffins actually going into downstate and losing control of this one once again, as he does get the block off with only 100% or 100 HP left here, and he is trying to stay alive here. Toker just trying to throw anything he can into him to try to take that kill, and Muffins staying alive here for just a couple of moments more. Only 10 seconds left until he gets his heal, so he just has to sustain
I think he should be
a little bit
though.
longer here.
Yeah, I should be able to, especially with Surge in the Mist still being up. He might be able to stay alive. 3 seconds. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Toker almost takes him down. He does have his heal up though. If he does expect a big burst, but Toker knows better to not attack him for that matter when that is up. And now it looks like Muffin's still struggling in this 1v1. We do see Nos actually moving towards the snow, trying to finish it up and try and take a 2 cap for their own. But back at the midpoint, a big fight going on there. What's going on?
Yeah, back at the midpoint here, it looks like K-Pud taking a lot of pressure here. Now at about 50% HP. Actually, he's able to get some heals off for himself, so he's now at 60%. Java doing a good job of providing some support and heals for his teammate. But I mean, look at Abjurd all over him right here, and they have yet to take a whole bunch of damage. And honestly, as soon as it comes out, they are able to heal. But Zeus has been added to this
there's
here.
a portal. We see a portal actually come out there from Marvin, and the 2-cap trying to get the D-cap as Phanarams in a 1v2, make it a 3v1 as Zeus comes through as well. They might be looking to give up the midpoint. Actually, Java goes right back through the portal, making it a 2v2, and now members all over the map. Java under a whole lot of pressure, might be taken out, has his heal up in a second. Is he able to get it off? No, he is not, as it looks like the Abjurd are trying to clean him up. And there is the Vapor Form. Marvin going in for the res. The stomp, though, from Toker's Elite will connect, and the Abjurd absolutely dominating this game.
Yeah, Marvin right now struggling to stay alive here, getting his mantras back up, and he's going to be able to maybe get this one off, and does indeed, and he's going to be able to stay alive for a little bit longer, and does have that time warp coming off of cooldown here. Continuum shift, though, at about continuum split at about 60-second cooldown here. Does have alacrity, so might be able to get that up a little bit sooner, but it's really going to come down to if he can get that up as soon as possible, because he needs that to survive one more burst play that could potentially come out from the Abjurd players here.
And Marvin trying his best to stay alive here. So much pressure coming out here from Nas on top of him. He should be able to keep up, though. Has his mantra up in a couple of seconds. Wakey going to join the fight as well. We do see a Chieftain push come out from Muffin. Should be able to pick that up. No contention whatsoever coming out from the Abjurd. But on the other side of the map, K-Pud looking for a decap, Chafe, and Hot Pursuit. Should be able to get there in time with the mobility coming out there from his hammer. And there, he does it indeed. Meanwhile, Phantom off a respawn. We'll have to see how that 1v1 shapes up between him and Muffins. That should be a good matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, over here, looking at this 1v1, I mean, Phantom right now is putting a ton of damage into Muffins. I mean, look at the confusion stacks on Muffins alone. It's honestly to the point where it was almost killing him there, and he went into his Herald heal and almost got a full heal off of the confusion alone. I mean, Phantom basically didn't even hit him, but was able to get back up to about 60% HP. So this one's going to last for a little while longer for sure. But looking back over at the midpoint here, we are seeing Nos actually forced off here. Does have 50% of his Reaper Shroud available, is able to stay alive for the meantime. But as soon as this does run out, I think that we're going to be seeing Java force him off for sure, and it does look like that is going to be the case.
Well, we do see the cap, the first cap in a while coming out here. 14 PC is Shape actually getting really low. Loses the 1v1 perhaps to K-Pud. At least he's the only one in the area. He's going to be able to get the stomp before Nos gets to him. Phantom dead over here at the henge. Could we see a change in pace in this game? It depends if Toker is able to get the res. Looks like he's not. Toker getting pretty low against Muffins, who is out of cooldowns for the most part. Has help from Zeus off of respawn. Toker doesn't have his elite to get that quick stomp. He knows Zeus is coming in here, and he knows he needs to get out of this one. We're going to see a 2-cap come out here from Team PZ. What do you think this means for them trying to get back into this game?
I mean, they actually have some decent control across the map. I mean, looking at it right here, I mean, they're going to get Henge back. They're going to be able to surge into mid if they need to. They have good control of mid. I mean, Marvin's certainly not going to lose control of that one anytime soon. They are going to lose the cap probably.
Oh, the slick shoes! The slick shoes.
But it doesn't it doesn't do it. It doesn't do it. They were able to get right on the cusp there of the circle there.
Wow.
Java was able to do it with a dodge roll, so he was able to get back onto it. They're holding on to this with just a sliver left. If one person jumps off at this point at any stage here, they will lose the cap.
That was pretty shady. I mean, it looked like they were off the point, but Chase Slick Shoes just barely not making it, and he is going to get some help from Phantom and Toker still, who are plussing this fight, making it a 3v2. Even so, Team PZ is back in what seemed a dominant state for the Abjurd, and they're back in this game. They could very well take the lead here. And the Abjurd, they're not necessarily struggling. It's just really good plays from PZ.
Yeah, and right here, Muffin's actually doing a really good job in pressuring Nos. Actually was able to get a good blind off there, and he actually did manage to get some Signet transfer there onto Muffins. Muffins now going to have to try to deal with all the Condi pressure that's actually happening here. But Wakey was eliminated over at the midpoint. Zeus going to be going for that stomp. Toker might actually try with Phantom there. They have so many people here, and he's going to pull. Oh, the play from Zeus! Get your shovels out, boy!
Zeus, what a play. Get some help here from K-Pud. Oh my goodness. Zeus on the prowl, and they are storming into this match. Muffin's doing a great job against Nos. He is going to get plus, though, by Fanaram, who peeled out of that midpoint. Muffin needs help right now. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Marvin, this is the matchup Marvin wants. He's in the 1v1 on a node he caps himself. That's where he needs to stay all game long. We are going to see Henge lost by Team PZ, but taking the 2-cap regardless. What do we have? We have a game on our hands right here.
Yeah, this is actually the stage at which Absurd is used to being in the lead. They're used to having control at this point. And this is actually a very good position for PZ, because if they're sitting here now at a 2-cap, all they have to do is control. And with Marvin on your team in that composition, with Java at your side as well, playing those defensive styles and just maybe pushing an aggressive play to that far point here and there, I mean, they have the setup here. I think they can do it. K-Put, though, taking a lot of heat. He needs to get out of here if he goes down.
Java, too. Java's in a 1v3 on the node. What is PZ doing around this node right here? They're all sitting down trying to help out K-Put, but Java's doing a 1-3-3 on the point. Now they lose 2 members. This is a turnaround for the Absurd, who force a portal
time
back.
Warp
There's
coming
a time
back
warp.
up, though. Marvin gonna go for it.
I don't know if he's able to get it. We'll have to see. He's actually very healthy. He should be able to get it.
He's looking actually pretty good.
From the gyro comes out, and the Absurd reclaim the 2-cap. This is anybody's to take with 5:40 left to go in the second game.
Yeah, a little bit of a throw there, in my opinion. I mean, I don't really know what they were doing. They just felt so confident coming off of that they just kind of threw it. They needed to make sure that they held on to that. And actually, Nos right now is moving into mine, and he's going to be trying to take on Muffins here in the 1v1. We have to remember, I mean, Muffins did a good job at the last time this matchup, but right here, we are going to be seeing a much bigger fight here as Zeus is getting trained right now and probably almost taken down.
No, he does not. He gets the heal down, but he actually is taken out. There's the instant res. Actually, apparently his heal never went down. Looked like he might have gotten it out. They're trying to get a decap here as the Absurd should be able to get back into this one. They have few low members, though. Nos, Fanaram, Chaith, and Toker not looking too healthy. They're trying to get the decap. Should be able to pull it off for themselves, as Nos is actually forced out of the node. Was in a 2v1 over there at the mine point. Toker forced out as well, and the Absurd giving up that henge point. More than likely, Fanaram kind of the last standing member even near the node. And we'll have to see if they're able to pick up the 2-cap Chaith. I'm surprised he's not getting on that node in time for them to not get the full cap.
Yeah, it looks like Fanaram's going to be taken out pretty soon here, sitting at about 10% HP. We're going to be seeing the block actually come out. He has the pull. Zeus might have it, does get it, and lands the damage there. So they're going to take him out. Do they have the counter pressure, though?
Looks like
in order
so.
to take him all the way out. Yeah, it does look like that is going to be the case. And now they're looking to take out Magic Toker. They have the 2-cap back now, and they are sitting now at 360 points.
They didn't follow up. They didn't see Chaith going for the res on Fanaram. Huge mistake on the side of PZ. There is a very nice flick shoot from Chaith. Despite that, Java able to get on that point just around the side and should be able to contain himself. But no, the decap comes out even so, and the Absurd and Team PZ both tied up at 1 cap apiece. So close to ending here.
Yeah, and Zeus's Hunter's Ward with the traps there might actually turn this into a 3-kill play here as Fanaram is eliminated. Nos in the downstate, and we're seeing Chaith getting pressure. They take out 3 members of the Absurd, and they're still at about 70 points.
We see K-Put actually going for Chieftain. Nobody in the area. Toker on the other side of the map looked for a decap from mine. Very good rotation from Marvin. There is 25 points. They are so close to victory. All they need to do is hold on to this 2-cap. We might see K-Put actually go for this one here as well. The Absurd are lost here. They don't know what to do, and we might see a game number 3.
We are definitely going to see a game number 3 here. We are seeing Muffins up against Fanaram here. We're seeing a lot of additions here coming in from the Absurd, and we're going to be seeing a lot of people pulling off, trying to help him out. Chaith still in the downstate. They're going to res him back up now. Toker was able to get him back up, and now Muffins is going to be eliminated. Blue team piling into this, and they need to get back onto it and make sure that they play really defensively at this point.
Well, Zeus is making his way back to this node. They were missing out on him. Not sure why he was across the map, but really all they need to do is hold on to that mine point and continue to funnel back into Henge. That'll do the job. That'll give him the victory.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to be seeing Wakey pull off. It looks like he tried to maybe make a play over to Svanir, but he knows that he's not going to get anything going. And as long as Marvin is just sitting on this mine point, they win. There's no way they're going to get that from Marvin at all. They're going to win this game. They're going to take game 2 against the Absurd.
This is the 1-year anniversary of the Absurd losing their last set to a North American team. Could we see it on this map number 3 that we will be going to on Legacy of the Fofar?
I mean, talk about a story there. I mean, losing potentially. I mean, we're going to be going into game 3 for sure at this point. 501 to 388. It's game 2 over. 1-1 for both guys, PZ and the Absurd. We're going to go into game 3, and honestly, this is
nothing that like we expected.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. We expected a clean sweep from the Absurd, a 2-0 victory without any troubles, especially from scrimmages. hearing that the PZ has been struggling even against Pugs and Qs for that matter, coming out, taking a game off the best team in North America for the past year and showing us what they can do, showing us that they can beat the Absurd. I'm very excited to see what we're going to have on Legacy the Faux.
Yeah, so again, this is one of those maps that, I mean, either goes extremely well for the Absurd or they can drop. I mean, they've been known to drop this map, and PZ, honestly, has probably played the most Legacy over the past week as any team across both regions. I mean, they played so much Legacy. I think they play it pretty well, especially now with the addition of Marvin moving over to that Mesmer. I think it helps them a lot, and they're going to be able to really get some good control over some of these notes. And I think at least they won't get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, and one thing to note about that last game is the Absurd looked to be dumpstering them. It was like a 160 to 40 point game, and it wasn't one play in particular for PZ that gave them the push to winning the game. They just naturally just looked to win a couple fights, got a 2-cap, got a D-cap, and started to hold on to the 2-cap, got back into the game, took the lead, even faltered at some point below the keep where they lost 2 members. It looked like that was the point at which we usually see the Absurd just come back and take the game from there. But with that, PZ just stormed back, and it didn't look like they had any troubles whatsoever taking that game.
Yeah, you talk about a play, though, and how about that play that Zeus made? That quick in and out with the trap.
Exactly.
Talk about that one, man. That was insane. Landing the burst there, taking that kill. Honestly, for me, that felt like the pivotal moment. I felt like that one led the charge going into the last couple minutes of that game that gave them the confidence to push forward. They kind of threw it a little bit, but they regained composure, and they came back and took that game.
All right, let's head over to our third map in the set on Legacy of the Faux Fires. We had both teams joined up waiting for our mark. Let's go ahead and get this one underway. Now that we know PZ can do it, how do you think they can do it on this map?
Well, I honestly, again, it really comes down to Marvin. And actually, the more that I see Zeus playing this Guardian here, honestly, I think that he has to be at least one of, if not the most impactful players of the last match. And if he continues that, especially on this map where Dragon Hunter can have a really good effect, similar to the Ranger that the Absurd has been known to struggle against, that very strong ranged burst pressure, the sustained pressure there from the ranged, they haven't ever really kind of been able to answer that. Of course, now they're playing with a different composition. They're playing as more experienced players. So, of course, now they could potentially have an answer to that, a counter. But they have in the past been known to kind of drop games against those types of compositions. And this is one of those where you really have to be careful, because if at any point Zeus takes some pressure, Marvin's right there, man.
Yeah, and I think some key things for PZ to take this match would be the pressure that Zeus puts out onto Toker. We saw that multiple times. If he can keep that up, keep on top of Toker, Toker isn't able to freely roam around like we so often see in the Absurd sets. And on top of that, Fanaram, if they're able to take a few 1v1s against him, because Fanaram likes to push those 1v1s at the far node, even at some other nodes for that matter. But if he continues to do that and continues to lose, PZ will be in an excellent place for them to take this game number 3 on Legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Fanaram certainly going for some Garden of Spirit plays this match for sure. A little bit of some of that Kruk style for sure.
Yeah, just kind of a mix between Kruk and Garden of Spirit. That's kind of what we see from Fanaram nowadays, except he can win his matchups for that matter.
Ooh, a little bit of BM there, man. All right.
All right, we are just waiting on these players. Give me your prediction so you can be proven wrong once again, like last week.
Okay. You know what, man? I say down goes the Absurd.
Okay, there we have it. I have to agree with you, so you can also call me out if I do. I think this is the Absurd. I think the Absurd knows it's a year that since they've lost the set to an NA team. So maybe they're just trying to give us a show. Maybe that was them, just kind of messing around that last game. But I think maybe it went to their heads. Who knows?
Here's what's going to happen. It's going to come down to Absurd's going to go for a Lord Rush. It's going to fail. This is getting extremely specific.
This is specifics.
This is super specific.
Okay.
Here's what's going to happen as we wait for this match to start up in just 10 seconds here. Absurd's going to go for it. They're going to fail. We're going to see a counter rush, and it's going to win. And we're going to be seeing 580 to 390.
All right, let's
That's
head
what I'm calling.
into this
That's
map.
what I'm
My prediction is Marvin dropping the portal bombing the Lord, and they're getting it. But we'll have to see as game number 3 is underway in this set. Chaith going for that quarry node. It looks like a bit of a defensive push, expecting a push from the Absurd over at the waterfall, and that they are. Let's take a look back at the game as Toker and company. Toker's going to be stealthing up. Meanwhile, Nos and Fanaram both looking to push against Java and K-Pud. The Mesmer Marvin is against Jade over here. This is going to be an interesting split for both these teams.
Yeah, it looks like nothing too crazy has started up yet, but Muffins has taken some pressure here. It looks like Absurd has looked pretty good so far in this start. However, Phantom have taken a lot of pressure already. Look at this burst coming out from PZ right now, and now Phantom is just sliding all over the place trying to stay alive, and they managed to get him there.
That was an excellent play by these. This is what I'm talking about. If they can continue to coordinate their damage between K-Pud and Zeus, they can stomp people, and they have done just that against Fanaram. And they are forcing out Toker, and Nas now is going to be under a whole lot of pressure. He's actually going to be taken down. What a burst coming out there from K-Pud, and now Toker's forced back to the midpoint. The first points of this game coming out there, 14 PZ.
And they're looking so solid. Look at their momentum push now. They're going to be able to force a lot of this really strong pressure now. I mean, so much damage coming out from these two guys, like you were saying there. Onto Wakey here on the midpoint, and it's going to be stalled out for quite a while, as Wakey does have a lot of his cooldowns, but if at any point anything changes, they can make those quick adjustments. They have those teleport plays that we just actually
Look
saw
at
them
this rotation
doing on
from
a
Zeus and
Fanaram.
K-Pud. They send one guy, and what does PZ do? 3v1 them. No problem whatsoever. They need to get back to the midpoint, though, because Muffins cannot hold off in the 1v3 for too long. He might actually be taken down. I think that was a bit of an overkill coming out there for these guys. Only has Surge of Mist ready to defend himself. Actually, able to get that shield block down from his traits, and should be okay for the time being, although Marvin was forced out of the quarry against Shaith, oddly enough. I think he thought his team needed his help at the midpoint. I don't disagree with that movement from him.
Yeah, and look at Toker right now, taking so much heat here. We are going to be seeing Muffins get kind of low as well, but he's trying to finish off Toker, it looks like, but he did get away, and we are seeing still a little bit of a lead here from PZ, but not really not a really commanding lead at the moment. They still have that opportunity to drop this one, and they need to be careful as Muffin's taking so much heat here. Marvin is in the area, though, so if at any point Muffins does
Look
go
at the
down,
traps onto Toker, though. Toker, oh! The burst from K-Pud and Zeus. That is what I'm talking about. There's the time warp. They're going to finish him off, and now they are up a member despite the decap coming out. Java was actually taken down, are going to get him back up. They need to get something going. Zeus, there's the portal from Marvin. That's what I'm talking about. They need more plays like